Okay, shalom everybody. Throughout everybody for tuning in. Hope everybody's having a great Wednesday. Normally, Shub Shawan is here on Wednesday getting it in. I am taking it today.
Yep.
And what we're going to go over today is, I think it's a topic that is it's an important reminder for all of us. Whether you're new in the knowledge, you're an established veteran, or you are intermediate, 5 to 10 years in, because these concepts and what we're teaching today is so important for us never to forget. And today's class is about the importance of embracing admonishment. Okay, let's get to the definition of admonish. I should have had the way it was. It was good the way it was. Let's look at the definition of admonish real quick, if we can. Let's see. Can somebody get it? Admonish.
Advise or counsel in terms of someone's behavior.
No, I'd rather have it in the 1828.
Okay.
Admonish. Have that? Well, you went to the actual literal book definition. That's real.
It says to warn or notify of a fault, to reprove without mildness.
No, to
with mildness, Salakia. To reprove with mildness.
To warn, yeah, say it slower.
Slow down.
People gotta hear it, bro.
To warn or notify.
To warn or what?
Notify.
To warn or notify. Warning
of a fault.
Or notifying of a what?
A fault.
Of a fault. Read on.
To reprove with mildness.
To reprove with mildness.
Okay, now we go to the second definition.
To counsel against wrong practices.
To counsel against wrong practices.
Wrong practices, and when we do things the wrong way, we carry ourselves out of season, we function and make decisions that are out of season, out of the spirit, out of how the Most High will want us to conduct ourselves. Okay? This is what admonishing is about. Read paragraph 2 again. I mean, the second definition again.
To counsel against wrong practices. To caution or advise.
Advice, caution, correction, mild correction. Give me the third definition.
To instruct or direct.
Mm-hmm.
To instruct.
To instruct or direct.
So people don't like direction in general. But when Israel was in the wilderness, that whole experience was about having to submit or follow or agree with a chosen direction.
There's no doubt about it. And we're just giving like the definition or the example of that. What you just said was Moses was admonished of the Most High when he was about to make the tabernacles. Admonishing just means correction and giving orders and direction.
Yeah.
So it's just being given direction on how to do things the right way.
Yeah.
That's admonishment. Also, give me the fourth definition real quick, sir.
In ecclesiastical.
And you talk loud though.
Let's speak up.
In ecclesiastical affairs, to reprove a member of the church for a fault, either publicly or privately.
So it doesn't matter if I pull you to the side and not talk to you, or if I tell you that you're doing something wrong in front of everybody. This is the right of leadership in church to make sure that a person is corrected for their conduct.
Can you read that last point again?
Just read it from the top. Definition 4.
In ecclesiastical affairs.
Which is spiritual conduct. Ecclesiastical is a big word for spiritual conduct.
Mm-hmm.
Read.
To reprove a member.
Reprove means to correct. So in spiritual conduct, to correct what?
A member of the church for a fault.
A brother or sister in Christ.
Either publicly or privately.
Read on.
The first step of church discipline.
It's the first step of church or camp discipline. When you hear the word camp, another word for camp is still church. It's the gathering of the body coming together. And one of the first steps of establishing a proper church or a camp is the willingness to embrace admonition, correction, adjustment. Okay, let's keep going.
It is followed by of or against, as to admonish of a fault committed, or against committing a fault.
So the first part is discipline, right?
Yep.
Establishing discipline.
Okay.
And once a discipline once the concept of a discipline is established,
Mm-hmm.
there has to be an admonishment to really maintain or not enforce. Well, that's the best word for it. To support the discipline of the camp. The correction is to support the discipline, to support the culture or the law that's established in a house, in a business, in a marriage, in a friendship, in a relationship. There's lines that have to be established, and there's disciplines that have to be established and protected by the admonishment and the laws that are set, or the rule system. Read on.
Finishes with. Slacking. That's it.
Let's read it from the top.
That's it.
No, it said, it is followed by of or against.
It is followed by of or against, as to admonish of a fault committed or against committing a fault.
So this is about dealing with the person who committed a fault,
Or did.
or if they didn't commit a fault. I could be warning you about not committing a fault.
Yeah.
We're going to go into the scriptures to explain why this is necessary. It is important, and it's the foundation, like this definition says, of establishing a proper church. If the spirit of correction isn't established, you really don't even have a camp. You don't have a school. You don't have a program. Okay?
You don't have this in there, right? You got them there, right?
Yes, I have that. I have that. So understanding that, I think, is very important. The first step of church discipline. And we're going to go into proving that concept. First verse we're going to is Isaiah chapter 58 and verse 1. Isaiah chapter 58 and verse 1. No, we're going with rank. There's a rotation of that. Isaiah 58 and 1. I need that.
Isaiah chapter 58, verse 1. Have you ready?
I'm ready.
Isaiah chapter 58, verse 1. Cry aloud, spare not.
Listen, Most High has given leadership orders to not be shy, to not be bashful, to not be ultra reserved about sparing a person's feelings. Because what you have to understand, what goes hand in hand in the spirit of correction and teaching, also can be interpreted as the spirit of being sparing a person or not sparing a person. Because this is the issue about admonishment a lot of times. The Most High tells us to cry aloud, not to hold your tongue, and not to spare feelings. Because when you start getting in a position of teaching and correcting, you are going to step on toes. This is why admonishment was part of the definition of admonishment was about being correcting with mildness. You know what that means? To be mild with your correction.
Can I answer that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was one of them kind of.
Yeah, I know. I like the topic.
I know, but
Go ahead.
but the thing is this: what is it? I'm gonna get you. But
Yeah.
admonishment, part of the definition of admonishment was to teach and correct with mildness. Does that mean admonishment means, hey, buddy,
No.
I really know you're having a bad day, and because I know you're having a bad day, I really disagree with your disrespecting me today. It really hurt my feelings. Please stop.
Stop doing it. Stop.
Please stop. Is that what admonishment is?
No.
Can somebody explain to me what the mildness of the spirit of correction is? I'll let y'all go. What is it?
So if you're correcting in the spirit of mildness,
One word is one word.
Oh, so
Or maybe 2 or 3 words. It's not a deep thing.
you would even say temperance. Just keep it simple.
It's
Temperance and
that's
self-control.
part of it. What else?
Moderation.
Mercy.
Nope.
No. Stern but not sharp.
Everything y'all are saying are somewhat right, but I'm looking for a word.
Control.
Control, but how do you get control?
Accordingly?
According to
if the person were not being excessive.
By the spirit or something?
Objective and not emotionally out of control.
According to the
It's not emotionally disturbed.
how about this?
Not extreme.
These are all spiritual ass words. I love it. I love the spirituality oozing out of the men of Yisrael. Okay, but all I'm trying to say is the spirit of correction is truly based upon telling a person that they're wrong, but not taking their conduct personally. It's no deeper than that. You guys were all hitting around it, but I was looking for that one. Listen, we have to all learn to correct without taking people's negative personally. That's the purest spirit of admonition and correction. Can I sit back here and tell a person that they're wrong, but not walk around here with a grudge, not walk around here angry, not walk around here turned up, mad at people, trying to sit back here and get a vendetta out. This is not about being on the warpath. And like old comedians used to say is, I'm going to step on toes until I redeem myself. Because the whole comedian was like, I got somebody stepping on my new shoes. And I'm going to keep stepping on new shoes until I feel like, I feel better on my situation. Yeah. Because a lot of men look at correction like, I was a young man, I was corrected. Now I get rank and position. And now I'm going to sit back here and make everybody's life miserable like my life was made miserable.
Because they perceived that they were bullied. They didn't see the scriptures. They didn't read the Bible. They didn't make it spiritual. They heard the Bible. They heard correction. They said, I was bullied. Now I'm getting rank and time, seniority. Now I can be the bully. I'm the bully now. I'm that dude now.
And see, if people will see and people will see a verse like Isaiah 58, and they'll hear cry loud. And that gives them the green light to go to yell and scream and pump their chest and get angry at people. And they'll take cry aloud and bring emotion in. And don't sit back here and say, cry aloud, spare not.
Yeah.
Oh, see, I don't got to spare your feelings, brother. Because you see this badge right here? You see this rank patch? This means I can sit back here and check you whenever I feel like checking you. But see, a lot of men over numerous generations I've come across have experienced that and rolled in that spirit. But the spirit, when it says spare not, all that means is I have to have the courage as a officer or the man of the Most High in Christ to tell a person the truth.
I can't be afraid. I can't be afraid to be honest. Because that element of sparing is a fear of honesty.
And there's a verse that goes into that down the line. It talks about how having too much bashfulness will destroy your spirit.
Exactly.
And this is an example of it. But going back into the point is that the sparing not is I have to have. That's what Moses tells us in Joshua 1 about having courage, not being afraid. I have to sit back, have the courage to stand up and tell a person the truth, whether a person likes it or not, or whether a person decides that they want to leave or not. I can't operate under that set of fear.
And it's the truth according to the Bible and Christ. People don't get it. You want to tell them the truth according to what Mama said, the truth according to where you came from, the truth according to the neighborhood that you represent, the truth according to what your parents told you, the truth according to how you felt at the moment. Which people call that my truth.
Or the truth of how, because the problem is this, when men get position and rank, you start mixing in correction and sparing not with your own experiences in life. Why do you think the Most High has all of us going and having to fight to take the time to go up the ranks? Because all the trash that you've experienced in your life
pollution of this world,
has to get purged so that when you are in the spirit of correction, you can do it in the purest form possible, without a grudge, without animosity, without emotion, but also simultaneously, while I'm learning how to detach myself emotionally from correction, simultaneously having the willingness to fight to break what's inside of me for another person's good. That's what admonishment is by definition. It's correction with mildness, but mildness doesn't mean my tone of voice, because Isaiah 58 just said you're supposed to cry aloud and announce it. But the mildness is about not holding the grudges and functioning with so much emotion,
which means
that a person that's younger will take the emotion and register it as it being personal.
Which means that the correction happened. The next day, you don't get the benefit of the doubt. You don't get a clean slate. You don't get an opportunity to make the same mistake again. I'm already upset. I'm already angry. And I'm going to treat you differently because you offended me 2 days ago or 2 weeks ago.
I'm supposed to have the ability to correct and then right afterwards give you a dap and a hug. That's how you can truly determine where a person's heart is at. I can check you, tell you where you're off, and then we're talking about whatever the hell is we're talking about right afterwards, because that's what brotherhood and love is supposed to be based upon. But let's keep going. We're building momentum in this class. Give me Isaiah 58 and 1 from the top again.
Isaiah chapter 58, verse 1.
And this is how you know we deal with the love of the world. Because we want people, if I'm on the side of receiving correction, I want people to tell me things that sound good to me, or I want people to co-sign and agree with my sentiments.
Yep.
Or if I'm the corrector, I don't want to lose a friend.
Yep.
Oh man, I gotta check that brother. Me and him are really cool.
We can't go to the club after that then if I check him. So let me wait till after the club, then I'll check him.
We're gonna kill
Or let me sit back here and correct my rib after I get what I need tonight.
Yeah.
Then we'll go to war spiritual. Brothers do it all the time. He don't do it all the time. When should I correct? I need what I need. Yeah. Then I'll bring out the Bible.
Baby, you know that you were out of. You said you was out of order 2 days ago. You were out of order. That's what I remind you.
It's not gonna work.
Do it.
That's the point.
Stand up for righteousness at that moment.
Yes. So where are we going with this? I don't want to go into the side of
you're bad.
Well, we're going to go into the consequence of not embracing correction. Today's class is about the importance of embracing correction.
I like this topic.
Monday's class is going to be the consequences of not embracing correction, and that one's going to dig. That's going to be a lot of crunchiness on Monday. But today we're going to sit back here. Before you correct, you teach.
Yeah, that's true.
Before you put a person on a hook for something, you want to explain the importance and value as clearly as possible, so you can see the pros to embracing correction.
Which is fair.
Before we go into the cons of not following correction, not embracing it.
Was that like when the Most High gave Israel the law?
Yeah. He sat back here. Don't forget, we was at the Mount Sinai, and the Most High communicated to each person to where they can understand all the specific laws, so everybody knew before the judgment came. This is no different. So, give me Isaiah 58, 1 from the top.
Isaiah chapter 58, verse 1. Cry aloud, spare not, lift up thy voice like a trumpet.
So, correction and the mildness of admonition has nothing to do with the tone of your voice. Because I don't know if you've realized when you correct somebody, if there's passion there, all of a sudden people get all queasy and uncomfortable and emotional and effeminate. How the tone of a person's voice shouldn't determine if a person has a problem with you or not. This is what Isaiah 58 and 1 is saying. We're going over the parameters because these are the things that people get caught up on. You said this at this tone. That means what? You hate me. That means you have a problem with me because you spoke in this octave level.
Or you don't care.
Because you're talking at this level and tone. The
Which
problem is our people try, when the Most High teaches us to cry aloud and spare not, we connect how the Most High corrects us to our childhood trauma.
Exactly.
Where we were traumatized, we were yelled at for the most malicious reasons possible.
That football coach, that karate teacher,
Yep.
that parent, that kindergarten teacher,
kindergarten. You go back to
you have to go back.
kindergarten.
You gotta go back to these time
You
periods.
might go to the first daycare person they had there.
You gotta go there.
Whoever snatched you in the arm and drug you around and stuff. Okay, so be it. Whatever your trauma is.
Because people, well, they'll take your,
Miss Jenkins.
They'll take that person's
She set
face.
my life forever.
They'll take that person's
Damn,
face.
Miss Jenkins.
You're correcting or something.
Second grade itch. I said itch. I didn't say the other word. I said itch.
Yeah.
But keep going down there.
No, I said Jenkins or Yankins.
A person will be getting corrected, and that person's head will turn to the person's face of the person you had a problem with. It turns to coach, whatever.
You mean the person that's correcting, you see that person in that correction.
Mentally, you're seeing this person. Physically, you're seeing a brother in Christ with scriptures. But spiritually, you're seeing
kids in the schoolyard, friends, family.
A bully like this.
Yep.
It's the bully talk. It's the bully from like 3rd grade.
Yep.
On a Israelite's head on.
Yeah.
And that's how that's how brothers receive information, or sisters.
And this is, but once again, we're going into this so we can teach people how to process correction.
Calm.
How to process the fire.
Yeah.
How to process when you're in the midst of a correcting situation, and how to detach yourself from what you've experienced in your past, and how to stay in the present spiritually. You got let me. We
I got you.
We ain't even finished one verse yet. Read from the top again.
Isaiah chapter 50,
I know, we
verse
got
1.
plenty.
I know, but yeah, I get you.
Let's keep going.
Cry aloud, spare not, lift up thy voice like a trumpet.
So mildness, like we explained in the definition of admonition, doesn't mean how loud your voice is, because the Most High made it clear we were supposed to be projective and loud about our points, and how we have to explain our points with passion and enthusiasm. The mildness is the detachment of the emotion and the detachment of taking people's sickness personal. That's what we have to make sure that if you're angry and if a person's actions have offended you, then you shouldn't say a damn thing. Walk the hell away if you're in a leadership position. If you're a husband, don't counsel your rib that night, because now the message isn't pure anymore.
Right.
And your pride and your emotion as a leader gets in the way of the message. That's my advice to any brother who has a wife. If you're angry that day, that's not the counsel day. That's when you push it back the next day. Because nothing good comes from you being pissed off and emotional. Because now your words aren't measured, your message isn't clear, and you can't properly deal with the issue. Anyway, continue.
And show my people their transgression.
Most High has given us a direct order to show our people their transgressions. That is our job.
That's a commandment.
That is our commandment. And we can't run from that. So understand that the individuals that are in a position of leadership have an obligation to tell each and every one of y'all if what you're doing is right or wrong. And if we don't, the curses and the punishment hits us. And we know that's in Ezekiel. We'll hit that later. But read on.
It says, and the house of Jacob their sins.
Our job is to teach Israel about their sins, and specifically in that admonition definition, what did it say? It said to warn or notify of a fault, to reprove with mildness, in ecclesiastical affairs, to reprove a member of the church for a fault, either publicly or privately. That is the discretion up to the teacher. Too many of our people get all caught up into, oh, you busting me out in front of all the other brothers, you making me look bad. That's pride. We'll go into that on Monday. Then it says, either publicly or privately, the first step of church discipline is the desire and need to cry loud and not be focused on sparing feelings and emotions. That's the first step in establishing a proper camp/church. Now, and we're going to show the house of Jacob their sins. Let that verse go and go to Isaiah 30, verse 20 and 21. Isaiah 30, verse 20 and 21.
Isaiah chapter 30, verse 30.
No, 30 and 20 and 21.
20. Slide. Isaiah 30 and verse 20. And though the Most High give you the bread of adversity.
First of all, that's a phenomenal verse. We're going to go into it. He gives you the bread of adversity. Read on.
And the water of affliction.
That means the Most High nurtures us with constant affliction and constant adversity. That's how we're nurtured. So first of all, we have to get past this mindset of looking for comfort. The Most High tells you He is giving us the bread of adversity. Bread is a what? It's essential to live.
It strengthens you. It strengthens you.
But it's essential. Water is essential. He's giving you the essential aspects of surviving in this life. Matter of fact, the essential elements to grow in life is adversity and affliction. And can you, I'm going to let you do it, but can a man and woman learn that in order for your spirit to grow, your spirit, not your flesh, in order for your spirit to grow, we have to have a healthy dose of bread and water, affliction and adversity. Because when we're afflicted and when we are going through adversity, those are opportunities to do what?
Grow.
How? Cleave to the Most High. You don't grow in adversity or affliction unless you learn to trust and cleave into the Most High, and you learn to cleave to counsel. This is how the Most High continues to establish humility and a clear mind with all of His people. When you go through those growing pains, when you're going through the affliction and adversity, that's your cue that it's time for you to listen more. It's time for you to grow more. What was you going to say?
That was my point. What I wanted to say was, people want to grow without the actual process. It's a dreamer's mind.
A person, but that's why the Most High said affliction and adversity is bread and water.
Yeah.
If you want to grow and get nourished, you need bread and water.
Yeah.
If you want to, on a physical level.
Yeah.
If you want to spiritually grow, you need affliction and adversity.
And the affliction adversity comes two ways. The affliction adversity comes because you did not follow the counsel and you did not follow the spiritual direction. So the product of that is the affliction you get yourself into, or you're living your life and you're going through nothing but suffering. And the correction was to save you from the suffering, the state, the condition of suffering, the degree of suffering you got going on already right now.
Well, let me bring another side to that.
All right.
Adversity and affliction, you're going to get it one way or the other. If I'm sitting back here living my life in the world, you're going to catch hell and affliction. But if I'm serving the Most High and I'm catching hell and affliction, at least I'm in a position to keep spiritually growing.
Exactly.
If I'm in the world and I'm catching hell, all I get is more bitter, more sad, more depressed,
More broken.
more unfulfilled, more detached, more withdrawn from everyone else,
Stronger in my ways.
Stronger in my pride.
Because my neck gets hardened.
when the Most High is teaching us that life, that affliction is going to everybody,
Yes.
but you can spiritually, you have two ways to look at affliction.
Come.
I'm going to run from affliction. If I'm running from affliction, I'm running my whole life. Or I can sit back and embrace affliction, embrace adversity, embrace it, and grow to the next challenge, which will bring about more adversity and more affliction, and then take the necessary counsel you need to go and project yourself further and further spiritually. Yes, sir.
Are you saying that we should expect those mess ups?
Not, this isn't mess ups.
No, I mean like because he had said that the affliction comes from messing up.
And that's why I readjusted the point. Listen, you're going to get affliction doing right or doing wrong.
It's just what is the end product of your affliction.
And then
That's the point. I wanted
that's
to,
the point.
The point I wanted to say was, you know you're not doing it right because you're going through so many stupid circular situations. You have a cycle and it's not productive. I'm not productive, therefore that lack of productivity is your affliction and your suffering. Now you go to counsel, go direction, go to the scriptures, go to the right angle.
So I'm going to be habitually being punished
Exactly.
for not listening,
Exactly.
or I'm going to catch adversity and affliction, face the adversity, and move past the adversity and affliction
And
to
that's
go to the next
time.
adversity and affliction. That was the whole point. Affliction is going to always be there. The question is, am I going to be like that hamster in the hamster wheel, constantly feeling the same suffering every day because I never figured out how to overcome it? Or do I sit back here, face this adversity, overcome it, go to the next adversity, overcome it, go to the next adversity, and keep growing and achieving and getting rewarded for embracing and learning and overcoming your adversities and your circumstances? Those are the two choices that we have in our life. So read verse 20 again.
Isaiah 30 and verse 20. And though the Most High give you the bread of adversity and the water of affliction.
So each and every one of us are going through our personal battles, our personal circumstances that we just can't figure out. You know what I've learned over life in the truth? All of us got a blind spot. All of us are soft on an angle, soft on a mindset. We cater to this. We're weak in this. We're overly emotional in this arena. All of us are weak in arenas, right? And because we're all weak in different arenas, read the next part.
Yet shall not
I need you to get loud, man. Give me some
yet
spirit.
shall not thy teachers be removed into a corner anymore.
So what the Most High is saying is, for all the issues that we face, the Most High is not going to remove teachers who can provide solutions for you. But those solutions are based upon correction, admonition, and redirection. And if we properly receive the correction, we can get out of that hamster wheel cycle of failure. Because I tell you what, it's very difficult to keep making the same mistakes over and over again and keep failing at the same scenarios. That is so discouraging.
It's demoralizing.
In life. It's demoralizing, and it makes people want to quit everything they do.
Yeah.
And this is why the Most High never lets his teachers be removed from the scene. Because somebody has got to be there to help correct, to help readjust. Because functioning and operating alone is death to any of our spirit. Or operating amongst the body and not changing is death to your spirit. And this is why the Most High leaves these teachers, and they're not going to be removed away from the corners anymore. Okay? Because during the time of Isaiah was teaching, and they wanted him killed. Because there's another verse down the way where if the prophecies don't come through, you can kill them. So they were sitting back here. Isaiah was prophesying about Nebuchadnezzar coming and taking them out. They didn't listen. It didn't happen at Isaiah's time, so they killed him. He says there's going to come a time where the teachers aren't going to be removed anymore. And that's the Most High showing Israel love and mercy. So the teachers constantly being there to help guide and redirect you is essential for every one of our spirit. Read on.
But thine eyes shall see thy teachers.
Listen, OUPK would say that means everybody's moving in the street corner talking about Esau. That is a form of the teachers being seen. Other forms is can I be with the camp and the body every day? You're going to see your teachers every day working with you. Your teachers are going to be present working with the body who wants to change every single day also. Okay, read on.
Isaiah 30 and verse 21. And thine ears shall hear a word behind thee, saying, this is the way.
So that means I'm going to supposed to be behind me, supporting me,
Yep.
giving direction. People say, you don't support me. You don't support me. I'll say this, that. No, you're supported because they're giving you the correct biblical direction.
Or people that say you don't support me or you support me, you micromanage everything. There's two different sides of Israel's complaints. You don't let me just sit back and flow and do me. That's not what we're instructed to do. We're not supposed to be. We're supposed to sit back here and hover behind and teach and be there every step of the way. Okay? It's the reminder that, you know what? You think we can't operate like we can do it on our own without help. Read that verse 21 again.
Isaiah 30 and verse 21. And thine ears shall hear a word behind thee, saying.
That's a brother saying what?
This is the way.
This is how you do it. You want to get into this endeavor? Let me show you how to walk into this endeavor. You're trying to sit back here and teach your rib? This is how you walk and function to get your rib in order. If this you got issue with your finances, walk this way. Do it this way. This is the nature of how the Most High has developed us. So our job is to do the same thing for y'all. And brothers have to embrace that process. People might call it hovering. People might call it micromanaging. He's always riding me. He's always pushing me. That is the nature of development. Read on.
Walk ye in it.
This is the direction. Walk ye in it. Read on.
When ye turn to the right hand, and when ye turn to the left.
Don't deviate.
Embrace it.
Embrace the correction and don't deviate the message. Don't deviate the strategy. This is the process of what leadership is supposed to do in dealing with the brother. And it's the process that a husband is supposed to do with his wife.
Embrace
a brother can sit back here and acknowledge that, woman, you got to sit back and don't deviate to the right or left. But they don't want to submit themselves to it either. But they wonder why the Most High doesn't honor that exchange between the husband and wife, because they don't want to do it themselves. They don't want to be adjusted. And that's where the problems arise. But initially, we have to embrace the fact that there's going to be somebody behind me telling me to go this way. This is the best direction for you. Don't deviate left or right. You know how many times we get headaches, and I know brothers different camps get it, always complaining. You sit back here and give brothers instruction, this back talk, that I don't understand, you're bullying me. It's all this simple back talk, but they don't understand the overall message of what correction is about.
There's rebuttal.
It's rebuttal, exactly.
Or there's rebuttal, or I'm going to try to neutralize your statement.
Okay.
Without the scripture.
And you know what? How you neutralize them? Just going through these circular, fruitless conversations that get nowhere. With all the energy that's being used to go back and forth. Because you know what happened? A brother will get a correction and told what he has to do. You know, a lot of times brothers say, I'll give you a 30-minute soliloquy about why I did what I did.
Yeah, I did it because
This is why I did it. Well, I don't give a shit about why you did it. It was wrong.
Because of that.
My job is to understand why you did it. I don't gotta hear. I know why you did it. I don't gotta hear your 30-minute version of why you did it. You did it because you were wrong, and you did it because you didn't know what you were doing. We can go into semantics. Well, you see, this is how I always operate. Great, cool, okay. This is what you do all the time. What does that got to do with the price of tea in China? It has nothing to do with that. So are we going to sit back here and talk about how we're going to fix things? Because listen, why does a person tell you the reason that they did it? Why does a person do it? So you can say, oh, now I understand why you didn't listen. So now you're off the hook. That doesn't change the fact that what you're doing is wrong and needs to be addressed as being wrong. So can you accept that, hey, the brother is trying to show me a better way? The thing is, you know, our people can't understand. Your way might have worked for 5 or 10 or 20 or 15 or 30 years of your life. And it might have worked to a certain degree. But can we all accept that there are more efficient ways of doing the same things every day? Pride a lot of times is measured in, I just don't want to do it. I don't want to do what another person says. It makes sense. But it's harder than how I do it. It's a little more inconvenient doing it that way than how I've done it. Why do I gotta do it his way? Why do I go through all these changes? Why can I just do this way? Hasn't failed me my whole life. Because the way you've done, you have plateaued in your spiritual life doing it your way.
Now you're stuck in the 6th grade.
You're stuck in the 6th grade, or you're just not growing, and your spirit and your life hasn't elevated by doing it your way. And the Spirit is showing you, He's requiring you to do it a more efficient way.
Exactly.
And Most High has brought teachers and leaders to help with that process. This is why Jeremiah 3:15 is what it is. Somebody read it real quick. What?
Jeremiah. Got you. Jeremiah chapter 3.
I'm not the AC puppet master, man.
Somebody's a freezer.
Jeremiah 3:15.
Jeremiah chapter 3, verse 15. And I will give you pastors according to mine heart.
The Most High will give you pastors according to my heart. Read on.
Which shall feed you with knowledge and understanding.
That sounds awesome. That sounds real spiritual, right? The pastors will feed you with knowledge and understanding. That's cool until they're right behind your back saying, do it that way, bro. That isn't what I said. Do it that way, bro. You got to do it better. That's not good enough. You can do better. That's the reality. That is the day-to-day reality of things where I'm behind you, walking you through it. It's cool when it sounds I'm getting fed and nurtured, but when being fed and nurtured means I'm hovering, that's when a man's pride kicks in. And that's when a man's ego kicks in. But that's what needs to be kept at the door of your house when you leave every damn day. Can I be humble enough to receive instruction, to receive a correction, because this is how the Most High has set it up from the beginning. Leadership was instructed to operate like this so you can grow. Read I think we got verse 21, right? In Isaiah, right?
God.
Let's let that go. Let's go to 2 Timothy chapter 3, verse 16 and 17.
Second Timothy 3 and verse 16.
2 Timothy chapter 2. I'm sorry. No. 2 Timothy 3, verse 16 and 17.
Second Timothy chapter 3 and verse 16.
Uh-huh.
Over there.
Come.
All scripture is given by inspiration of the Most High.
So the scriptures, the word, the Bible, what the Most High has left for us to teach and interpret, it's from the inspiration of the Most High. Read on.
And is profitable for doctrine.
So the use and the application of these scriptures is profitable for doctrine. What does doctrine mean?
It's a methodology, a way of doing things.
Thank you. So, doctrine is a methodology, a spiritual methodology of doing things, and when using the scriptures as your foundation to establish that. Now, over the 30, 40 years of this work being being intact, 60 years, something like that. Point is this: there has been a constant evolution of doctrine. There has been a constant evolution of the proper way to do things.
And when we say doctrine, we don't mean the core concepts of what it takes to be an Israelite.
Yes.
We're saying, when we say doctrine, let's clarify. We don't mean the doctrine as far as the 12 tribes.
Yes, exactly.
What color Christ is and all that.
Thank you. Appreciate
We're not tripping on doctrine. We don't change doctrine here. We're not changing doctrine. But there can be better ways of developing people. There can be better ways of raising children.
Yes.
There can be better ways of teaching.
Teaching a wife.
Raising a young officer and teaching him how to be more responsible. There can be better ways of listening and considering.
Better ways of leadership.
Those things. There can be better ways of paying bills.
Yep.
And
being responsible
and making sure everybody has resources. That has to improve because times always change.
So, with that being the case, we use the scriptures. We use the proper balance of scriptures and wisdom.
Experience, yeah.
So that the doctrine can continue to grow. Read on.
2 Timothy 3 and verse 16.
Read from the top.
All scripture is given by inspiration of the Most High, and is profitable for doctrine, for reproof.
Listen, so as the doctrine improves, the way that we structure our lives. Because listen, the crazy thing is this: if anybody wants more in this life, in the spiritual life, what's the first thing that has to improve? Most of the time, in order to get greater blessings, in order to get more out of your Israelite experience, what's required?
Sacrifice.
Your ability to accept correction.
All of that's true, but it starts with discipline. Because even when you sit back and go into scriptures about the pursuit of wisdom, you can't get wisdom unless there's discipline. I don't want to go there.
Yeah.
I'm using it to explain about the improving of the doctrine. The improving of the doctrine and the standard starts the whole process. Once the doctrine and the standard has got to a certain point, now what has to elevate with the doctrine and the standard? The caliber and the work ethic of the camp and the men and the body. So now we're sitting back here. The discipline is set to a certain standard. The work ethic is set to a certain standard. Now it's time to demand and push the body to be the best they can be.
So caliber and works have to grow, have to increase.
Well, the works is the doctrine, your effort, how skillful we are at teaching, how skillful we are in sacrificing and dedication. And once that's established to a certain point, well, I'm gonna say this: the doctrine and the methodology should continue to improve based on discipline and self-sacrifice. But as that measure is established, we're also pushing men. We're behind those men, like it was explained in Isaiah 58. But listen, this is the way that you go. This is the standard that's set up. Don't deviate to the left, to the right.
This for the perfecting of the saints.
Of the saints. So in the process of doing that, it requires the body to be more what? Humble. Can everyone in this room and everybody online that's in their specific camp and school, can they embrace the reality that if the body is going to grow, we all have to augment our discipline, and we all have to have the mindset of pushing and following the greater example? Because if we all embrace the mindset that we should all be pushing to be the best example possible, then the process of counsel and correction and admonition wouldn't be such a problem. The reason correction and the receiving of correction is such a problem is everybody wants to work to a certain degree and what?
Coast.
I always go back.
Plateau. Yeah.
Everybody talks about King Solomon. Solomon was cold. You know why Solomon was so cold? Because he had 12 lions on his throne, y'all. You heard the stories. You got 6 lions on the left, 6 on the right, and they was ferocious.
It was for real.
And
man.
they was on ivory. The whole throne was ivory. Silver wasn't accounted for. You've heard the story. Like, wow, Solomon was great. But after Solomon died, what was the first thing that people said when they hit up Rehoboam?
You work too hard.
Your daddy pushes too damn hard. Your daddy pushes too hard. Why do they say that? Because in order to have a gold kingdom, in order to have the highest possible standard imaginable, everybody's got to go all in. And the constant threat and push and demand to be the best you can be uncomfortable unless you embrace it. And this is the number one reason why men and women get caught up in issues with correction and pride and anger. Because most people don't want to get pushed. People want to be left alone to their own devices, to their own lackluster approach to doing things, and then be upset that the Most High doesn't reward lackluster effort.
People have self-imposed limitations,
and they think, but they have caviar dreams, and that's the problem. Everybody wants the baddest of everything. They want the baddest house. They want the most money. They want the baddest rib. They want everything bad, all meaning good, but don't want to put the necessary work to attain these lofty goals they've set for themselves in their imagination. And then they're upset that their reality doesn't match their dreams. And then when you got brothers who are pushing them to get to a certain level, to get to what they say they want, then they're upset that you're pushing me too hard. Now my pride kicks in. This is the root of the Israelite dynamic. This is the root of mankind's dynamic. And people don't want to accept that their reality is based off their work ethic and their mentality and their level of commitment and their willingness to embrace folly. What's folly? I'm not going to go into a class about folly. That's for Monday. But what's folly? What's fun? No. I want some straight definition crap.
Folly.
1828. I don't want Webster shit. I want some 1828 Websters.
1828. Weakness of intellect.
These are the reasons why Israel don't get what they want. But then, when you have teachers that are establishing an opportunity for everybody to grow and to get the things they want, their weakness of intellect doesn't allow them to achieve what they want. Because you know what the problem is? Israel is more focused on hiding their weakness of intellect than being humble and working on fixing your weakness of intellect. And this is where pride kicks in. This is where arguments kick in. This is when we're running in circles in counsel. Because the whole game is, I don't want people to see how much I'm weak in my mind. And how much I don't have discipline. How much I'm weak in my spirit. So now it's the smoke screen. Push. I'm going to focus on this. I'm going to say a rude word and get caught up into an argument versus then with the fact that I'm insecure, I'm weak in the mind, I'm full of fear, and I hate myself.
I'm a deflection master.
But that's Israel. Israel has learned to get through life by deflecting and hiding their true weakness. But if we're going to grow, to what we all say we want, that pride has to get pushed to the side and allow teachers to see you for what you are. If you can allow a teacher to see you for what you are, then you can get proper instruction. Then you can get built up past where you imagine you would be. But that pride is based on my fear of looking bad or my fear of being exposed for what I really am. And Israel to choose a life of secrecy and isolation instead of embracing being exposed so you can eventually get helped.
Yep.
So this is the purpose of this is why teachers have to cry aloud and spare not and bring everything to the light. Because who else is going to bring things to the light? Everybody else enjoys darkness. They enjoy hiding and protecting and shielding themselves from looking a certain way. But you don't grow that way. So, 2 Timothy 3:16 tells us that the word is good for doctrine, which is once we sit back here in the scriptures and a standard is established. The goal of the teacher is to help elevate the rest of the body to a higher spiritual standard so we can all grow. The only thing that gets in the way of progress is pride and a lack of honesty about evaluating yourself in the truest form. Half the time people can't grow is because they're not honest about who they are.
The liars.
Yes. And next week we'll talk about that.
Yeah.
How we're liars. But the purpose of the establishing the doctrine is to give a person a chance to see themselves. This is where Isaiah earlier in 30 talked about how the Most High gives us the water and bread of adversity and affliction. All adversity and affliction is supposed to do is to get you to see what? Thank you. That's what the constant feeding us of affliction and adversity is there to show, okay, hey, you grew here, this is where you got to work at. Everything that you're not good at is why you're in your rut. If I'm bad with money, I don't have no money. I can get mad the Most High to camp my job. You can have $1 million a day and you blow it. Because you have an issue with managing money. If I have an issue with putting a house together, it's not this person and that person, it's you. If you can't keep a man, it's you. If you can't sit back here and get a rib, it's you. If you're studying and there's an issue you can't teach, why? It's because maybe you don't study long enough. Maybe you don't commit to studying. It's you. What am I saying? This isn't about attacking anybody. This is about can I honestly acknowledge where I'm weak at, and then so that I can allow teachers to help me. Because everybody that walks through these doors, a lot of us have a choice to get the most out of the experience of being an Israelite, or we're going to just play Israelite and just go through the motions and salute and wear fringes and dresses and salute everybody, but not change what's inside of us so we can see. You're not going to see the benefit of doing this life if you're not honest in your evaluation, and if you don't allow the teachers to help develop you and build you up.
I just live in pretentiousness. I'll be pretentious, and everything will be external. It'll be about me looking a certain way, and it's more about my image than my substance. Bringing the works that I bring to the table. That's substance. Everything else is going to be about perception. I want to make sure I'm protecting perception, because if you go past my perception, that's all I got.
And so we're going to go back from the top in 2 Timothy 3:16 as a reminder. Read that again.
2 Timothy chapter 3 and verse 16. All scripture is given by inspiration of the Most High.
Yes.
And is profitable for doctrine.
So you have an opportunity to keep augmenting everything in your life by following the book. Read on.
For reproof, for correction, for instruction in righteousness.
How many of us take the scriptures and the brotherhood and the sisterhood that we have in the proper perspective? Every brother I have, every spiritual relationship I have should be used to improve me, to instruct me, to get me closer to the Heavenly Father. I think a lot of times we're serving the Most High, we read the Bible, and how we look at the scriptures is incorrect. Because I don't know about you, but how many times you might have taught a sister or taught a brother, and they're self-defensive when it's time to counsel. I'm like, what the hell you think this is? What do you think the Bible is for but to correct you? The person, all you do is tell me how I'm off. What the blankety blank is the Bible finding?
Can I put this right here?
I'm getting country saying it's stupid, but what do you think this is about? Oh, I always feel like you're judging me. What? What did the Bible say is here for? For reproof, correction, and instruction in righteousness. What do you think this is about? But a lot of times, we want the Bible and the scriptures to make us what? Feel good. But you don't feel good until you receive the reproof and the correction. And if you follow the reproof and correction, then you're going to feel good. Until what? Until that next avalanche of affliction and adversity comes. And then when that comes, I follow instruction and correction, then I'll feel good. And then guess what's going to happen? There's some more water and bread coming to you.
The cycle of growth.
That is the cycle of growth. But most people can't embrace that. Because they're looking for a high.
Yep.
They're looking for something to make them feel good every day. versus realizing every day is a new battle. And can you get addicted to overcoming the battle? Can you be addicted to overcoming the next challenge? Esau understands it in the physical all the way. What do you think? What do you think how Esau has established this entire world? It was all about. It was crazy. As soon as World War II ended, guess what happened? Within 2 years. Anybody know? The Cold War started. And right after the Cold War, guess where they went? Well, we went to Korea. What? After the World War is over and all this resources and all this murder, death, kill, 2 years later you back grinding again? Then you're sitting back here sending forces to take out people in Guatemala? You're doing coups in damn Panama? What? You're constantly killing. Because you know why? You know what they understand? It's all about the next country. It's all about the next victory. It's all about the next military victory. It's all about the next imperial nation that you take over. That's on a global geopolitical term. You can get regular Edomite, those little rock climbers. Why do you climb the Mount Kilimanjaro? Because it's there, man. And it's a challenge, man. And after Mount K, then I'm going out there in Uzbekistan, and I'm gonna go walk that mountain too, man. Because it's about the next one.
And 8 people died, bro, but I'm gonna do it.
I'm gonna learn from their death. I'm gonna be more prepared. I'm gonna train in high altitude for 3 months.
Yeah.
Then I'll be ready. Esau understands it's about the next challenge. We just wanna sit back here, live my life a little bit and chill. Do a little bit of work and chill. It's the same demon that had us not conquer the land of Canaan all the way.
That's the same demon.
I just want to fight just enough, and I want to watch my little girl blow bubbles. After that shit,
yeah.
And that's it.
I don't want no trouble.
That's what I'm saying. That's the spirit of Jake, guys. Just do a little work and rest and retire and coast. But that's the Most High keeps saying, I'm going to bring more avalanche of damn adversity and affliction, and it's not stopping.
That's one of my great points.
Either you're going to accept that every couple seasons, I'm breaking this, or I'm not. And I'm going to drown anyway. You're going to drown regardless. So you're going to drown, you're going to fight. Which one are you going to do?
That's it.
But the point is this. But in order to continue to not drown, what must a person do? I got to keep listening to counsel. Because counsel is how you keep yourself from drowning. So I got to get into a habit of learning and acquiring as many new approaches as possible to stay afloat.
Well, that's a person that's living in the present and they're spiritually practical. The opposite of that is I got to create more delusion. I have to create a bigger lie.
Excuses, yeah.
I have to create a bigger excuse.
You don't understand what I'm going through right now. Oh.
I've done everything. I've done everything under the sun, and it still hasn't gotten solved. I've done it all. Okay. And you ask them, like, they can't tell you, but they did it.
I'm not going there because that's next week. Yeah.
The other day. But the whole point is, you're either mentally alive, clear, present, and practical, and you're accountable biblically, and you have people around you that can say, yes, we can see this changing, or no, this is not changing. They can give you an outside objective assessment.
And you know what the thing is? For those of us who have problem with looking at people the right way, this is why the Bible says the entire Bible is supposed to be used for instruction.
Yep.
The entire Bible is used to push you and to motivate you and to push you to change. The feel-goodness, quote unquote. The matter of fact, I'm gonna pull this now. Give me the definition of hope in the 1828, because it kind of fits in right now.
It's important. This is important.
No,
Embrace admonishment.
In the 1828 Webster Dictionary.
You hold your verse, but we're gonna talk about hope. We're gonna re-talk about it when we get to Romans 15. But let's read that.
A desire of some good.
A desire of some good. Read on.
Accompanied with at least a slight expectation of obtaining.
Listen, Most High talks about consistently about the scriptures being we're prisoners of hope.
Yep.
But a person will never have hope unless they can see that serving the Most High, listening to counsel actually works.
Yep.
That's how a person gains hope. Because in the world, we do things our way constantly, many different ways of doing things, and we still fall flat on our, our derrieres. Now you sit back here, you start serving the Most High and start making changes, you start seeing things work for you. But then guess what happens? When you first come in, and you start listening to counsel to the brothers in the council, the new brothers, and all of a sudden, it works. The word of the Most High works. I just listened to this, and it was good. I got the job. I got the car. Wow, the Most High is powerful. Everybody's losing their brains when you first come in and you change. Then what ends up happening? The more you're in, you got to do more work. You got to make more adjustments. But you know what? If you know that it worked last time, so if I listen more this time, it might last a little longer. Well, I got to wait longer, but the blessing won't come at the end. That's hope. That's what we all have to have. But you're going to lose hope real fast if you don't learn to embrace correction. The instruction and correction and the reproof that makes the Bible what it is exactly what's needed to establish the spirit of hope. You can't get to the point where you can get hope unless you learn how to follow instruction. So this is how we have to look at correction so we can be positive in embracing advice. Maybe we can realize if you don't embrace advice, you will eventually lose hope. And you will eventually break. And you will eventually fall. Give me the other definition of hope. No, just keep going. Just keep going.
Or a belief that it is obtainable.
Listen, to believe that something is attainable is everything.
That's everything.
Read on.
God. Hope deferred from
hope
differs from wish and desire in this.
Hope differs from wishing and desiring something in this way. Read on.
That it implies some expectation of obtaining the good desire. The good desire. Or the possibility of possessing it. Hope, therefore, always gives pleasure or joy.
Hope gives pleasure or joy. But you're not going to have that possible pleasure or joy. Or if I hold tight, He's going to bless me with what I need. That hope is nurtured from when we follow counsel and instruction. The hope is nurtured when we obey and we learn to embrace the Bible for what it is. It's a tool, a spiritual tool from the Most High to keep us growing and pushing. And the more we follow, the more we adapt or align our lives to these scriptures, the better and the greater our hope becomes. Because the Most High will start showing us when we discipline this, the Most High gives us this. We deny ourselves in this arena, the Most High bless you with that. When you sit back here and fight this in yourself, then He gives you a blessing in that. The hope starts to build the more you listen. But when you stop listening, you start losing hope. Then the spirit of despair comes in.
Yep.
When that spirit of despair comes in, then you're like, I'm just going to do what the hell I got to do to find my joy my way. But this Bible was created to establish hope. But you got to give to get. You got to give your ear. You got to give your humility. You got to give your spirit first. Then you will maintain the hope. Does everybody understand that?
God.
Read on in verse 17. We'll go back to this hope part. Go back to verse 17. 2 Timothy 3 and 17.
2 Timothy 3 and verse 17.
So if we embrace correction, reproof, instruction, then what?
Reads, that a man of the Most High may be perfect.
This is how you learn how to be the perfect man. Are you perfect in following? Are you perfect in following instruction? Are you perfect in realizing that your method can be done better? And that the Most High will bring people around you, men and women, that can do it better than you. A lot of times people can't accept that.
Yep.
The Most High brings us all together because somebody's going to be more disciplined with their diet than you. Somebody's going to be more humble than you. Somebody's going to be a harder worker than you. Somebody's going to be a better studier than you.
More effective.
Somebody's going to be a more effective communicator than you. Somebody's going to be more of a nurturing, loving person than you. And instead of hating on that person, instead of feeling threatened by that person, you have to embrace that person's method. And in the humility, the willingness and the humility to follow a person's approach that's better than you is how you grow in faith and hope. But most of us don't know how to appreciate and respect somebody that does it better than you. Because we're carnal and we're insecure, and we take people that operate better than us as a threat.
Like Saul.
Like Saul.
You gotta catch those Shabbat classes.
Yeah.
And you gotta really understand what that guy's mind was like.
Because Saul realized that David just did it better than him. He was more spiritually inclined, more connected to the Most High than Saul ever was. And he couldn't take it. So he stopped listening to the same person. He should have been learning from what David was doing versus trying to kill him. No different than brothers here or sisters. If I would just learn from the guy that runs circles around me, guess what? You'll grow. But we got too much pride in us to actually get the most from brothers and this Bible. Because if I'm sitting back here fighting people that do it better than me, then I don't really understand what this Bible is about. This Bible was used to correct you and make you better so you can end up constantly pursuing the perfection the Most High has waiting for us. But once again, we're okay at the bottom. We say we want things, but we don't really want to work for them.
Our actions don't match our words.
Because verse 7 is going to tell you. He says, in the process of pushing for correction and instruction, what happens? Perfection is based upon what?
What?
Thoroughly furnished unto all good works.
I understand how to do good in a lot of different arenas. I know how to study well and for long stretches. I know how to counsel. I know how to listen. I know how to work from the front. I learned how to sit back here and communicate. I know how to function in a business arena. That's a person who's thoroughly furnished. That means a person is well-rounded. A person who embraces the spirit of counsel becomes well-rounded. And the more well-rounded you become, the more hope you have in this program, and the more hope you have in the pursuance of the Heavenly Father. But a lot of us, we got so much pride in us, we can never learn to get well-rounded.
We're arrogant.
Because we hate looking bad. We're so focused on looking bad, we never become perfect or fully furnished in all good works. That means we're only furnished halfway or 1/4 in good works and expect the Most High to reward us as a person who's fully furnished.
So half our spiritual house, the living room is dope, and the bedroom is
garbage. The bedroom's garbage. No bed.
There's mold in the bathroom.
The kitchen's dirty as cuss.
The kitchen is crazy. The toilet is broken. It won't flush.
It's like molded black in there.
Yeah,
what the hell's
what's
growing in
going
this? Gross.
here?
Remember that old brother's house tub?
Yeah.
Nobody's putting their feet in that tub.
That tub.
That tub was the worst thing ever.
Yeah.
It was bad. You had to put your feet like that, moving your toes around all that black stuff. The paint was chipping off.
Yeah. It was like a House of Horrors bathroom.
Yeah, it was bad bathroom.
But it was like from the 50s. It was like the time never changed.
Yeah.
I make the racism era.
The roaring 50s act. The sock hops and stuff like that.
That will never change that.
The dances is all 50 style act. But anyway, keep going.
But the point
remember
is,
sock hops act. No, nobody should remember sock hops. Happy Days act.
Yeah. Happy Days.
There we go.
Greasers.
Yeah. I like this.
Yeah. Come on, Joey. Come on, man.
Yo, let's go, man. I'm sorry. I started it. I got to reel it back here like this. You got to keep that kick out your hands. Yeah, man. It's horrible. Let's keep going now.
But the point is, when the Most High comes into our spiritual house is half constructed.
Yeah. But we're expecting this A1 inspection. When the Most High inspects, we're supposed to get rewarded for doing nothing.
Yeah.
And this is the point. So, I think we got that point. Let that verse go. 2 Timothy chapter 4, verse 2.
Gotcha.
2 Timothy 4 and verse 2.
Where you going?
Preach the word. Be instant in season.
Listen, when you look at the definition of instant, you're going to see instant means urgent. One thing we lack is the spirit of urgency when it comes to changing and making adjustments.
Instant means urgent.
Yes.
That's fire, bro.
So it says, preach the word, be urgent in season and out of season. If I'm operating in the spirit of urgency, there's a willingness to change, and I realize I'm on the clock, which means I'm willing to listen to every godly discourse that much quicker. Half the time, we don't want to listen because we think we're okay. We think we got time. We think we can sit back here and, I got time. You can't operate serving the Most High thinking you got time to change. You don't have time to change, and you have to operate like you don't have time.
Yep.
You have to be instant in season and out of season. Yes, Shawab.
Instant, pressing, or urgent.
That's my point. You have to know in the back of your, there is a clock in the back of your head that's telling you better change tomorrow. Not now, but right now. Stop procrastinating. Stop BSing. Yes, sir?
Designed to produce results quickly or immediately.
That's the point. If you're going to be instant in season, you better operate knowing that, man, I got to get results now. And if I got to get results now, I need to follow the best counselors and examples possible. You know how we do? We don't start looking for counsel until we start losing money, until cars start breaking down, until ribs leave, until you hit rock bottom. I need counsel.
Trying to fight.
I don't understand. Father, help me. We do that stuff when we fall. The Most High says we're supposed to be sitting. Christ said we're supposed to be sitting back here and operating with that pressing urgency to get results now. Let's sit back here and be forward. What? A year ago. Can you sit back here and push to be forward a year ago to get on top of your situation, to get in front of your problems?
You can't if you don't appreciate or you don't value admonishment. A person doesn't value admonishment, this is impossible to perform.
And that's the point.
They're always gonna go opposite of whatever they're told. They're told pick up the pace. Opposite. They're told slow down.
Then they speed up.
They speed up. They're told talk to your rib out. They yell. They're told go check her out.
They don't.
Baby, what do you want to do?
I don't understand.
I'm saying,
don't talk.
Save money. They got new jewelry on it. They got new jewelry. You tell them, save money. I got new jewelry on. You tell them, man, you need to go deck out. Man, you need to sharpen up. They come in rags.
Yeah.
It's almost like you gotta opposite.
No, you're not gonna stop. Don't even put that in people's heads.
No. Don't do it.
Cry aloud, spare not.
Don't
do that.
Don't do it.
Reconsider.
I'll take that.
Read some literature. Come on now. So the point is this,
reverse psychology.
Don't do
That's
that.
Stupid. I don't know why people can't just tell them the truth.
That's the point. But this is the nature of people. If I operate with the mindset that I had before the year ago and be urgent to make pressing changes, then I'll go and do things the right way.
Right.
And I'll communicate, I'll call before I make moves, and I'll follow instruction like Isaiah 30 talks about, where that presence is going to be behind you, telling you which way to go and how to do it.
Yeah.
This is how you embrace correction. This is how you grow.
Yeah.
Okay. Read verse 2 again.
Okay. 2 Timothy 4 and verse 2. Preach the word. Be instant, in season, out of season.
So there has to be urgency through all the seasons. I have to operate like my back is against the wall, even though my back might not be against the wall.
I'm only gonna fight when it's worst case scenario.
Because that's Israel. When sky's falling, now it's time to go to war. That's not how a spiritually minded person operates. Read on.
Reprove. Rebuke.
We're supposed to still rebuke, which means we have to allow ourselves to be reproved and rebuked also. Read on.
Exhort with all long suffering and doctrine.
We exhort with all long suffering and doctrine. What's the point of this? We're supposed to apply these scriptures and function in urgency and be willing to follow a greater doctrine than yourselves. Because that's the issue. This is the nature of counsel. This is why we teach leadership. If you're going to teach somebody, you better outwork them.
Yeah.
Isn't that what we teach brothers all the time? So if we're teaching, we're putting pressure on men to outwork the other brother in conduct in the right way, then the student should embrace that concept and follow the greater doctrine, the more consistent doctrine. This is how a camp and a church stays healthy. Eliminating excuses and embracing pushing each other and being pushed to the best of our abilities.
So this is supposed to foster a true spiritual environment,
Con.
not just
Shucking and jiving and talking shit with each
Con.
other and making it be a boys' club. Let that verse go and go to Ecclesiastes 42, verse 1 and 8.
Solomon was wise. You did. That's true.
Huh?
That's true.
Who's next?
41 and 10.
Amiati is next.
Ecclesiastes 42. I need you to be on top of that. 42, verse 1 and 8. And 8.
And 8.
Yep.
Ecclesiastes chapter 42 and verse 8. Be not ashamed to inform the unwise and foolish.
Wow.
Don't be ashamed
That's a good scripture.
to inform the unwise. No. It's supposed to be verse 1 and 8.
Verse 1 and 8. Ecclesiastes chapter 42 verse 1. Of these things be not thou ashamed, and accept no person to sin thereby.
Because these are the things you can't be afraid to do. You ain't supposed to accept nobody's negative. You're supposed to take nobody's bullshit. That's our God-given responsibility, to not accept negative. To sit back and turn a blind eye to weakness, selfishness, pride, disrespect. Our responsibility is to sit back here and stand up to sin. And this verse aligns with Isaiah 58 and 1. Cry loud, spare not. Show my people their transgressions. Because this is the standard and the doctrine that we're trying to establish. Doctrine is informational. Doctrine is also standard and conduct of how to operate. Your mode of operation. Read on.
Verse 8. Be not ashamed to inform the unwise and foolish.
He says, don't be ashamed to keep telling people that are doing something wrong. Don't be ashamed to tell somebody that's doing something that can be improved to improve it. This is the nature of how the Most High is demanding us to operate. Don't hesitate to tell somebody that they could do something better. This is not just relegated to, oh, you're supposed to correct somebody if they're sinning. No. If you're in the church body, our responsibility is to tell a brother that he can do it better. Because this is where the pride kicks in. Nobody's going to argue about sitting on the Sabbath. Nobody's going to beef and complain about that type of wickedness. But if you tell a person to push out of their comfort, that's when the pride kicks in. When you tell a person that they can do something more efficiently, with more detail, with more speed, with more precision, then you get with more maturity, then you get the pride.
Yeah, demand that.
Then you get the back and forth arguments. Because Israel hates it, but the Most High tells us not to be ashamed to inform the unwise or the foolish. The person that's not doing it the right way or up to the standard that we're trying to take the body at. Read on.
And the extreme age that contended with those that are young.
And sometimes you got to tell an older person they have to keep their place. They have to stay in their place and let the younger people run things how they got to run it and go the path that they got to go. Read on.
Thus shalt thou be truly learned and approved of all men living.
If you want to be honored by the Most High and truly approved as a man and a leader, these are the things you got to do. You got to have the courage to stand up against somebody who just don't get it. Because that's what we're fighting against, foolishness.
Yeah.
We're arguing with foolish concepts and foolish works. But you know what? Have the courage to stand up against foolish works, foolish emotion, foolish pride, foolish slothfulness, foolish immaturity.
False reasoning.
False reasoning, which is foolishness. A person's method that has never been proven to do shit. And you're going to hold on to it? Then you deserve to get checked in front of everybody. Let that verse go and go to Proverbs 13 and 24. Let's get quick. Let's get there.
Oh, well, have you read it?
He did a definition. 13 and 24. So after Nathaniel, you hit it. Read that. Proverbs 13 and 24.
Proverbs chapter 13, verse 24. He that spareth his rod hateth his son.
The person that doesn't have the courage to stand up and tell somebody the truth, they hate their brother. Yeah. If I spare correction to my son, I'm hated. Then if I spare correction to my brother, then I show him hatred. It's the same concept. If I don't tell him the truth, which means if I'm not willing to go to war with somebody about their conduct and their unwise thinking, that means I really don't care.
Exactly. I don't care. And what it is I'm setting that person up for failure.
And this is why the person that tells a person what they want and tells them what they want to hear does a person the greatest disservice on earth. I show a person I give a shit because I tell them they're wrong. That is the greatest form of love. Because who wants to sit back here and argue with somebody all goddamn night?
Nobody, bro.
You know the person that loses? The goddamn counselor. Your ears got to sit back here and bleed plasma. I'm just listening to bullshit for 30 minutes to 2 hours. But you don't understand. You know,
That's what happened. This is what happened. That's what happened.
People think that in this position of leadership, we like arguing.
It's fun.
Oh yeah, I like showing how much I got wisdom, and I'm gonna tell you for 2 hours.
The same thing. The same thing I said 10 weeks ago.
I'd rather relax and watch a little television. Maybe take a nap at a decent time of night. That is what I like. But it doesn't matter how I like. What matters is that brothers need to be told, or sisters need to be told the truth about themselves to help save them.
Cause
it's just showing you a mindset. I'm not trying to toot anybody's horn, but love is the willingness to take whatever time needed for as many days to get you to see what you need to see. And if I have to lose time and life and ear plasma and all that stupid stuff, then you know what? It doesn't matter, because all that matters is that eventually you get it, or like we talked about today, at least the message is in your head. So when you go do what you got to do, you at least know a prophet was there, and the prophet gave you counsel. Because a lot of times you don't, the pieces don't come together until you hit rock bottom. Like, I was told that, and I didn't listen. Damn it! But if I didn't tell you the truth, you would still have no answer. So even in hitting rock bottom and you being told the truth, guess what? For that person, there's still hope.
Yeah.
There's still hope
because
somebody gave a shit enough to tell him.
The person instilled instruction in his child, or man, or adult, whoever it is. Instruction was instilled. Yep. What you do with it is what you do.
Or how long it takes for you to receive it.
Yeah.
It's on you.
Or the ability to accept. Because step 1 is instruction. Step 2 is acceptance. Step 3 is production. Step 4 is perfection of that production.
What's step 5? That sounds good as hell. You give me the steps, huh?
I mean, that's what it really is.
No, I'm just being silly, but you was hitting those numbers. Damn, hold on, write that down. You said too fast.
No,
you said step 1, step 2, step 3.
Step 1 is getting the instruction.
Damn.
Receiving the instruction.
Okay.
After you receive the instruction, now you have to decide, do I accept the instruction?
Yeah.
Here's a salad.
It's a choice.
Salad has
it's
chlorophyll and that's some minerals and vitamins. Woo! That's dope. That's so much knowledge. Okay, now do you accept that you have to live like this every day now? Yeah. Do I accept that this is to be part of my life? Then you say, okay, it is a part of my life. So I start to make attempts, physical attempts in my life. Now I'm going to make my own salads every day. And guess what? You're going to try and fail, because that's a part of the process. Trying and failing, riding the bike, you suck at it and you fall and you bust your knee. You might hit your head and get a scar. But then as you keep trying to ride the bike, you master the bike. That's the part where you perfect the instruction. Mm-hmm. I'm attempting instruction, now I'm perfecting instruction. Step 5 is teaching the next man. As always, giving back. We harp on that every time.
But the crazy thing, the process between practicing and perfecting is also based on how close do I stay next to my teacher. That's why in Ecclesiastes 6 it talks about going to your teacher's house betimes. You have to always be at the door of your teacher, so you can constantly get blow for blow steps on how to deal.
Yeah.
Even if you're learning to wait for something. Because a lot of times waiting is hard. So this is why you gotta still be around your leadership when you're waiting, because they'll give you projects to focus on while you're waiting for what you want. It's still about embracing correction and instruction. Okay, you got more of that?
I was gonna say this one last point, and that's it. And that's why when there's no admonishment present, you just fall and have no anchor. You have no compass. I'm just gonna be lost. When there's no person behind me directing me, there's no admonishment or history of people checking me, then I just get lost. I'm just gonna be lost.
Yeah. So let's keep going to Proverbs 13:24.
Yeah, Proverbs 13 verse 24. He that spareth his rod hateth his son.
So you hate your brother or sister if you don't tell them the truth about themselves. Read on.
But he that loveth him chasteneth him betimes.
If I love a brother, then I'm going to tell him he's off. And I'm going to keep telling him he's off in hopes that he changes. That is what love is. If you don't care about somebody, you're going to tell them what they want to hear so you can get what you need back. That's what the world does. The world plays games.
Yeah.
The world just tell you what you want to hear so I can get relations. I can tell you what I need because I need a ride. Yeah. I'm going to tell you what I need to get what I need back.
It's transactional.
And you'll never know,
Yeah.
and you'll think that this transactional relationship is actually real when you run from people who tell you the truth about yourself because you say it's cold here. There's no love here. Then what's your definition of love? Is it just getting what you want? Being told things to make you feel good in the present? Or can I give you proper hope, which is through instruction and teaching and showing the scriptures on what to hold on to, what to deny, so that there's real substantial hope down the line. That's why when you read in that definition of hope, it talked about there's a difference between wishing and desiring something.
Yeah, that's bad.
There's a difference in real hope and a wish and a fantasy.
Unrealistic desire.
And that's the problem. Hope, real hope, there is something structured behind the wait.
That's crazy.
A wish is a dream, and it's a fantasy that you'll never have any way to properly grasp. The world teaches dreams and wishes and fantasies. The program, it's the Most High gives you a tangible hope. It's a realistic option that if you do things the right way for a period of time, you'll get. But we like the fantasy and the fairy tale of the dream and the wish more than the harsh reality of the hope that's in front of us.
Wow.
And we have to choose the spiritual path that brings the realistic, tangible hope versus the dream that the world teaches you. Yes, sir.
So you're saying instead of looking at this image, we have to look at the steps to get to...
Because you know what, to get hope is hard. You got to sacrifice this, and give this up, and give this up. And if you do those things, boom, your hope is there. The dream is, one day, Mr. Wright's going to come to that door. Or one day, this beautiful Israelite tribe's going to come through, and it's going to work out. I'm not going to name a tribe because everybody's preference is different. This perfect situation is going to fall out my lap, and everything's going to be all right. That is a stinking wish and a dream. Why don't you sit back here, live right, serve the Most High, do the right thing, sacrifice this, and this, and the Most High will give you what you need. All that sacrifice this and discipline in that and put the Most High first this, and then the Most High is going to bring my family back. That's nothing. This is hope. If I sacrifice this, I deny myself in this, Most High will bring my family back. Or go to him, live the fantasy, and maybe if I make this money, they're going to come. No, it don't work that way. If I throw money at the situation, it's going to work out. That's a fantasy. Hope is more tangible, but hope is harder. Yes, sir.
Dream. Something of an unreal beauty, charm, desire, or expectation.
Unreal expectation.
Yes, sir. That's the dream.
Unreal expectation.
But we would rather follow the unreal expectation than the difficult process and path to attain hope. And so this is the point. Because in order to gain the hope, you got to follow counsel, constantly be told you're not doing enough, you got to change, you got to wait. That's crunchy and nobody likes that shit. People want to live in the clouds. They want to have their own little world, planet Xanthor, that they fall onto. I'm just throwing stupid names out there. You have your own little planet, you have your own way of your planet and how you want to live, and that's what you want. People are on a whole other place. I don't know about you. People have their own world that they go to find comfort and solace in, and not the real world. I know I'm not the only person who's seen people that operate like this. Come on, I.
Yeah.
Hey, maybe we got some Xanthorites here. I don't know, I. I'm making the name up, but I'm still saying the same point. We want to live in a fantasy land and not a reality world.
They want what's the term for it? They want castles mad at clouds out.
Yeah.
They want castles mad at clouds out.
I know, but without any substance, because this hope has substance to it, and this is what can sustain a man or woman with real substance, real hope.
I want to be in Candyland, which is the house of
Candyland.
Yeah, feast of what? There's the house of mourning, which is the real world.
Yeah.
And then there's the what? There's the
It's Candyland. Candyland's a great one.
That's
Yeah,
Candyland.
the gingerbread like bridge or something like that.
Like if you play Candyland, they got the ladder to go to skip an actual area.
It's been such a long time since I played that game. A long time. So listen, now we're giving Candyland metaphors. Bacana. Where's it going to?
The land of shortcuts.
Yeah, but it's the land of shortcuts and dreams, but no tangible reality. We have to learn to stay in a tangible world and follow tangible solutions that have worked. You're not going to get counsels that haven't worked before. That's why it's called doctrine. Somebody has done it, it's worked before. I can follow this template and have a better shot of following this template that has worked before than create a template that has never worked before. Because that's how we like to operate.
Because what people really want you to give them a feeling. They want you to validate a feeling for them so they can think it's real.
And this is how preachers make millions of dollars.
Yeah.
Because they understand how to create the feeling. They had to teach that prosperity teaching versus hard, real scenarios. So, did we finish? He that loveth the Most High, or loveth that person that you're working with, will chasten him betimes, meaning quickly, and they won't hesitate with the message, or how consistent the message is presented. Let that verse go, and we're going to Revelations 3:19.
So are you saying that if I don't value and embrace admonishment, then the only thing coming to me is a dream mentality?
It's a dream mixed with a whole lot of failure. But still, people sit back here and okay with their failure as long as they can keep the dream intact. When there's a real tangible solution right in front of them, they don't want to hear it. So Revelations 3:19, give me that.
Come. Revelations chapter 3 and verse 19 reads, as many as I love.
So just if you think that in Proverbs 13 was just talking about kids, this is what Christ said. Read it from the top again.
Revelations chapter 3 and verse 19. As many as I love, I rebuke.
Exactly. Read on.
And chasten.
So the people that Christ loves, he rebukes and he chastens. Didn't we read that in Isaiah 30? Mm-hmm. He gives us the bread of affliction and the water of adversity. Mm-hmm. The people he loves, he gives that bread of affliction and water of adversity. That's how you know he gives his shit, because he keeps stinging you. But with all the stinging and correcting, he gives you teachers and leaders and hedges that can sit back and help walk you through your issues so you can maintain hope. So this walk isn't so difficult. Read on.
Be zealous, therefore, and repent.
Because that's what it takes to get real change. There has to be an enthusiasm that's beyond your regular mode of operation. This is why in Timothy it says, be instant in season and out of season. There's got to be that sense of urgency that wasn't there, has to become there.
Yeah.
So that sense of urgency is what zealousness is.
Can I ask a question?
Yeah.
So does this mean that I'm not taking my life serious, I'm not taking my development serious, I'm not taking
You're not.
Christ serious?
Exactly. Most people aren't. Most people want to coast through life and think good things happen to those who are just nice people. That's just not damn the truth. Good things happen to people who fight for the blessings in the spirit. Either you're going to take some shit in the world, or you're going to be in order and fight your battles and take things in the spirit in this arena. That's it. It's either you're going to be a fighter in the world and attain by stealing and cheating and going left, or you're going to sit back here and be in this arena and fight and go all the way in to fight what's inside of you to gain blessings here. That's it. And if not, you're going to be unhappy and unfulfilled here, and you'll eventually leave.
That's the truth.
These are just the facts.
And let me clarify one thing. And this is like, because you said this is what everybody deals with. This is for me being here since 2002. It's always been this way, and it's almost like we're just waiting for people to hit the wall, to make the decision. Like we'll go through all the classes. You know, Christ is black. You know, you gotta fight your battles. You know, you gotta love your brother. You know, you gotta deal with situations and problems. You gotta study. And this for this climax to happen to where a person hits the fork in the road, they hit a wall. Am I gonna take instruction in Christ serious or not?
Yeah. And am I going to take change serious? Am I going to take the counsels and the classes in my personal studies and create the zeal? The zeal comes from utilizing all the resources around you to empower you to fight. Because we all know you're not going to fight and change and break yourself and be the best you can be on your own. Not for spiritual purposes. This is why you read. This is why you sit back and attach yourself to people who do things better than you. Instead of sitting back here and looking at people who do things better than you as a threat, look at them as an asset. I need to sit back and look at the people who do things better than me as an asset, because it can strengthen me and power me up. But we're so low level mentally. We look at people who can run circles around us as, oh, they gonna judge me, make me look bad. You looking down on me. I've been looked down upon my whole life, and I still rose up from the gutter. All that bullshit talk,
I'm the rose that you concrete.
Yeah, I didn't run the road that rolled up from that concrete. No, everybody don't give up on me. Okay, here we go again. Sky's the limit, huh? Get out of here, Why don't you sit back here and figure out what you do garbage and let people instruct you so you can get better. And stop living in this coping mechanism mindset. Yeah. People say that to feel so that they can have some type of self-respect about themselves. That's the only thing you can hold on to if you're not going to change and listen. Change and listen. And you don't got to sit back and operate in just survival mode. Anyway, did we finish with that verse in Revelations?
Verse 19.
Yeah, let that verse go and go to Romans 15, verse 13 and 14.
Sure.
Where's your green, man? Where's your green? I know you know what it is at.
Okay,
my patch.
Nah, I forgot. Yeah.
Just asking like this is the only burgundy shirt in the whole
building. I put this
building.
shirt in my vehicle in the morning. I was tired.
Okay, at least I get that. He owned up to it. We're good. Let's read this verse.
Romans chapter 15, verse 13.
I always hit Junior, man. It can't just be him, man, if I hit up on this situation. But read that.
Now the power of hope.
What? There you go, that power of hope thing. The Most High is the power of hope. Wow. But how do you learn to get hope? Through the embracing of correction and the embracing of following the right methods and the right approaches that supersede yours. That's how the Most High is the power of hope. Read on.
Fill you with all joy and peace.
Now all that fancy, because a lot of times you read this verse and it's kind of like a fluffy verse. The power of hope fills you with all joy and peace and believing. That sounds kind of religious-y, but when you piece it together and you really understand what hope is predicated on humility. Hope is predicated on how well you follow and listen, and how well you follow the method, and how well you trust the method. Because if I trust following instruction the right way, that's where my hope lies. So the Most High is the power of hope, because the Bible is the book of instruction, reproof, and correction. So if I embrace correction, reproof, and instruction, then I can have what?
Peace.
Hope.
Oh,
hope. So if I embrace the Bible, well, I'm saying correction, reproof, and instruction, then I can start seeing how the Most High is the power of what?
Hope.
That's it. So read it from the top again.
Romans chapter 15, verse 13. Now the power of hope fill you with all joy and peace in believing.
So now it's not so hard to be in order now. Now it's not so hard to follow instruction because there's hope behind it. Because if you follow instruction and you learn to do things the right way, you don't hide or run from the check anymore. Because you realize, oh man, that check's really going to help me out. The correction is really going to make things better for me. I need to buy another one of these things. Like this.
That's always kind of simple.
No, because you know what? They bought me a bum damn case sock, a base sock. Anyway, I'm going to go to the...
Gotta admonish.
Got to admonish it. You know, only way you admonish it, you got to take it back. Anyway, so let's keep going.
That ye may abound in hope.
Wow.
Through the
Abound
power.
in those instructions.
But see, abound in the embracing of the process.
That's banging, bro.
You have to abound in the embracing of the instruction. Can I embrace correction without fighting it?
Abound in the embracing of instruction.
That's how you get the hope. Read on.
Through the power of the Holy Spirit.
Mm-hmm.
Discipline.
Of the Word. The power of the Word. That's what the Holy Spirit is. It's the true Spirit. It's the Word. Read on.
Verse 14.
What would Christ sent the Holy Ghost down? Remember that's some John 16 and 13? Yeah. The Holy Spirit is the Word. So you're embracing the Word and the power of the Word by holding on to the Word, which is correction and instruction. Read on though.
And I myself also am persuaded of you, my brethren, that ye also are full of goodness, filled with all knowledge, able
filled with all knowledge. Read on.
Able also to admonish one another.
It's the culture of admonishment that builds the spirit of hope. If the camp in the church, if there's a culture of correction, there's a culture of knowledge, there's a culture of setting a standard of knowledge, a standard of doctrine. There's a standard and a culture of admonishing one another to keep pushing the standard high and the camp expectation high and the expectations of brothers and sisters. The higher you raise the bar, the higher the instruction is, the higher caliber the leadership is. Then you sit back here and you'll start seeing the hope increase in the camp, the positivity and the peace of mind in the camp. Because you know what? People start to trust, if I just stay in order, the most are going to bless me. If I keep doing, can people, because a lot of times there's a lot of despair in that mindset. If I do things the right way, if I discipline myself more, if I deny myself more, what's going to happen? Can I trust that the more I commit and change, the hope is it's going to work out? That's the culture we're establishing, but you have to keep setting the standard higher to even get people to see that it works. Is what I'm saying making sense? Okay, so the admonishing of one another is the nature of what the camp is about. That's the culture that the camp should be about. Not just tearing people down saying you ain't shit, you ain't shit, you ain't shit. Let me show you scriptures to prove it. That's not what correction is supposed to be.
And that's one dimensional.
That's not what it's about. That is youthful, folly, or
it's
immature.
It's
Immature teaching. That's not what this is about. Can you set a high standard in yourself and then teach men how to rise to that same standard? And can brothers embrace the journey? Because that's what hope is. Embracing the spiritual journey. Embracing the change. Having a willingness to embrace all the assets. There's something but assets around you. People that are capable in different arenas that you can feed off of to get you where you need to be. If you're humble and not full of pride. Let that verse go also and go to Ecclesiastes in the Apocrypha, chapter 20, verse 22, 23, and 30. Let me get that real quick.
Yeah.
Ecclesiastes in the Apocrypha, chapter 20, verse 22 and 23, and verse 30.
Ecclesiastes, chapter 20, verse 22. Whenever you're ready.
22, 23, and then verse 30. Okay, read that.
Ecclesiastes chapter 20, verse 22. It says, there is that destroyeth his own through bashfulness.
Nope. Say it again, read it again.
There is that destroyeth
his own soul through bashfulness.
Listen, a person destroys his own soul by not standing up and telling a person the truth. Some of us come to this knowledge and deal with fear, deal with fear of confrontation, deal with fear of facing people, facing issues in yourself, standing up and fighting what's inside of you. He said a person can destroy his soul by being bashful. Let's look up bashful real quick.
Bashful. Modest to excess.
I'm too modest. I'm too conservative. I'm too considerate about how a person feels. I'm afraid to step on toes. I'm afraid to demand what I need to demand. I'm afraid to sit back and tell a person the truth about themselves.
I'm over empathetic to the point where I'm an enabler.
Exactly.
So when we call enablers in this time period, is a person that's bashful in that scripture right there.
Because I don't want to hurt your feelings. I'm so concerned that you're going to leave or you're going to be upset by this message that I'll keep it to myself. You're going to destroy your spirit doing that. What you going to say?
Another definition for bashful: socially shy or timid.
Oh my goodness. He's saying, listen. Saints, you said the saints of the Most High shall take the kingdom. You can't be, well, can I please get the kingdom? Please. Could you please hand it to me? I would really like the kingdom, Father. Didn't the angel tell him, John, he says, take the book. John asked the angel to give him the book. He said, you got to take this damn book. You got to fight for what you want. If you want the Most High to back you, you better stand up and fight for what's right. Yes, Yohanan, I'm sorry.
The second part of that definition was sheepish. And when you go into sheepish, it says part of that definition of sheepish is diffident, meanly diffident. And the definition of diffident is modest or shy because of lack of self-confidence.
Oh, what's diffident?
Diffident.
What's diffident again? That's a monster.
Diffident is modest or shy because of lack of self-confidence.
It's like that guy Edward Scissorhands, the spirit he wrote in that movie. I hate movies. I don't do movie breakdowns. I'm not good at that. But
he was awesome. He was like
the way he was, his demeanor, that real unsure, shy, inward, fearful energy. That's being different. Huh?
It's like every movie Esau pushes
the
spirit hard.
Yeah. Listen. Yeah. Damn it. Yes, you're right. In every movie they push that angle out, man. If you're that bashful and diffident, that's a hell of a word.
He had the glasses on. He had the little button up. Carnegie's like all.
But he kind of had scissor hands. So I can understand.
He can't look at. I mean, hit that scissor hand.
He kind of had knives in his fingers, so I can understand why he didn't feel 100%.
He got some knives on his buddy. I can't look you in the eye. I can't. It feels weird to be confrontational. It feels weird to be direct. I'm so indirect with you. Yeah. Everything's circular. That guy, Christ, it's hard for Christ to roll with it.
But that's what he's showing. If I operate in that type of spirit, the Most High is not going to bless me. That just means this. If I can see that in a bashful person, why does a person that's bashful not deal with his bashfulness? Because it's hard. And it's opposite of his damn nature, right? Why does a person keep talking back when he gets checked? Same damn reason. It's hard. Why does a person deal with addiction and can't stop? Because it's hard, right? So a person says, if a person doesn't deal with their bashfulness, they're going to lose their soul. If a person can't get over their pride, guess what? You're going to lose your soul. If a person can't control their addictions, guess what? You're going to lose your soul. Anything that I sheepishly run from and not confront in my life, I'm at risk of losing my soul.
Can I explain
because it's the same concept of I got this bashfulness and I just will not deal with it. I have this pride and I just will not deal with it. I have this lust and I just will not confront it. But I expect the Most High to defend me when I don't want to stand up and fight what's inside of me. This verse is just talking about bashfulness, but there's a myriad of things that the bashful guy, he doesn't fight that, but the other person, that bashful guy's a sucker. But I can't control my emotions. So which one's better? Neither of you. That's the point. Bashful, fearful, emotional, angry. impulsive, if I don't deal with it, and I don't allow teachers and instructors to push me, and people who can run circles around my issue, if I don't surround myself with these kind of people, if I'm bashful, who should I be around? Bold-ass people who can tell it to you straight. But what do we like to hang out with? The bashful guy wants to hang out with the other bashful people. That they're okay with me being bashful. The dude who wants to be angry wants to talk with the other angry guy and complain together about being angry.
We're angry.
Arr! Arr! I'm so pissed. Let me tell you about all the reasons why I'm pissed. You're pissed? I got a better reason to be pissed. Let me tell you about this pissed off scenario. That's what Israel does. Misery loves what? The flesh loves being around its like.
Every beast of his life.
But if we're going to be spiritual, let me be around people who are opposite of my nature so I can grow. You had a hand up real quick?
Yeah, there's another definition which are different. He says stresses. This person stresses a distrust of one's own ability or opinion that causes hesitation in acting and speaking.
Okay. Okay.
Slow it
down and break it in pieces.
That was
a diffident person stresses.
Okay.
Stresses
a distrust of one's own ability.
They're unsure about their own skill sets
or opinion
or their way of doing things
that causes hesitation.
So stop. Now listen. If a person who has bashfulness doesn't trust what they see, doesn't trust their decision making, how do you fix it? Be around somebody who can show you what to look at, how to look at it, and how to deal with it. That means that bashful person's life has to be a complete open book so that you can get instructed. But this is what the remedy of the bashful, diffident guy is the remedy of the guy who's addicted to shit. The impulsive person, the angry person. If I'm an angry guy, I gotta daily report about what makes me mad. And then be told by somebody, that shit ain't worth being mad about. You're tripping. That's not something to be angry about. That's all you're wrong. And can you eat that? And then the next in 10 more minutes, because a person who got these issues should be constantly calling about how sick they are. Oh man, this pissed me off too. Okay, I'm listening. But that shit ain't worth being angry about. You're wrong about looking at that. And that's how a person gets retrained. Every scenario that pisses me off, I gotta call, report it, and be told this shit's off. If I'm bashful and I'm dealing with shit. If I'm bashful and I'm uncertain, let me call up and get clearance. Oh no, I'm not supposed to do that? Then I won't do it. Then let me go opposite of how I feel. That's how everybody gets trained. This is why correction is important. This is why being admonished is everything. But you can't get admonished unless you're open enough about the fact that you got issues. And you're willing to let somebody dissect your every impulse. The problem with Israel, we don't want to let nobody in that deep. For somebody to dissect what's really inside of you, to see what you're really made of. Because really inside you, you're full of gummy bears and donuts and all type of weakness inside. And we don't want nobody to see it. So what does Israel do? We're full of sicknesses, but we project strength to back people off of us. And that is the death of our spirit. Because the instruction on how to deal with that bashfulness is how you deal with every sickness. What was he going to say now? I'm sorry.
I had to pull this point. So, when they say the losing of your soul, people don't get that. Sometimes people might think that losing your soul is like you sold your soul to Satan.
Yeah.
You went to the devil, right? Losing your soul is that the personality the Most High had created for you, right? There's a personality the Most High has created for you, right? There's a certain spiritual shield that just puts a mantle that when you walk into a room where you're an Israelite man, there's a certain spiritual mantle that vibrates off of you. There's a certain light and power that emanates off of you.
Oh, I tell you what. How about this? There's a power that emanates off you the more spiritual successes you embrace.
Exactly.
When you sit back here and you stop growing, it's like your spirit gets like a baby out.
Every sense.
I don't know if I hope y'all understand this. When you're constantly fighting what's inside of you and you're constantly challenging yourself, you get bigger.
People can see how discouraged you are. People can see how discouraged you are.
Yes, but on the flip side, when you're breaking things inside of yourself, they can see strength too. They can see a heightened strength, a heightened power, a greater confidence. The more things you choose to overcome in yourself. Esau will call like your aura's getting bigger, but it's not your aura, it's your spirit increasing after every obstacle that you choose to overcome.
It's the intensity that naturally you don't have to, you can't act this shit out. A lot of us act it. Shalom, huh? Jehovah by a suit. Jehovah star.
I have phalangeries.
Okay,
I got them fringes, my guy.
Or the sister has the softest voice in the world.
You mean humble, sister? Not humble, humble. We're gonna the H is silent.
Yeah.
It's or humble.
So humble. Yes. Right? Like when a man's in his true masculinity and his true aura in Christ is undeniable. When a man is diffident and not fighting his battle, he becomes extremely effeminate and extremely childish. The man that's weak
and defensive.
He's a child.
Yes.
He's a man child. He's almost like a masculine version of his mother. That's how I know when a man's shrinking. They become titty boys, huh? Become titty boys in the truth. You gotta talk to. I hate to say that. I gotta say it, but it's the truth. They become more, and they become their faces softer, their spirits softer, their voices softer. They turn to a fucking Dove commercial, huh? And so when you do a brothers in the spirit, when they actually are they're truly embracing.
But I want to make sure I'm clear on this. Everything you're saying right, but that's not just dealing with the bashful guy. That's dealing with the proud guy. That's dealing with the emotional guy. That's dealing with the guy that can't control his impulses.
Yeah.
Everybody looks that way when they're not fighting their
battle.
They
have aspects. They have this baby aspect.
And let me explain baby. They're overly sensitive. Overly defensive.
Yes.
They're always in defense mode. They can't take correction. They can't take criticism. They're always sitting back here making excuses.
They're fearful.
It heightens the less battles you fight. So I want to make sure. And this is we're not just banging on bashful spirits or less aggressive and assertive spirits. Because I've seen some of the most effeminate men in Israel be the loudest talking, most aggressive, alpha-looking kind of guys in the world, but can't take no discipline, can't take no correction, can't make any changes. And the soft-spoken guys can do more, run circles around the loud-talking guys spiritually.
Because it's what we're trying to discuss is, when you say a person losing their soul, the nature, this person's force is diminishing. You can see when a man's about to leave the truth. This brother's gone. Have you give him a counsel out? You see that face of the counsel?
You can't take that check, huh?
3 months, he's out, huh? Shalom, huh? Let him go. He's done. Yeah. You can see it. But a person that doesn't take or value and embrace admonishment, their spirit declines and gets weaker, and so you can see they're gonna go more into impulsive and indulgence and feminine. It's a natural thing. It's natural. Even when the sisters are strong, you can feel a strong. When elder sisters walk in the room, there's a glow. There's a respect.
There's a glow. This spiritual glow.
This sister walks in, you can see sisters that are in nature, and they're like lights of God. They're just women. But they're powerful. You can feel the power off them. They've been through a lot. They've seen a lot. They have strong counsel. They have understanding. They're wise women too. I've seen it. Yeah. This thing happens when you actually embrace instruction.
And I'm gonna say this: that glow is subjective to the battle. Because as quickly as you can get it, you can lose it. You get it, you got to sustain it. Because you can lose it.
That's why we say, I don't finish my point. That's why I said when a person says you're losing your soul, no, you're losing the personality the Most High actually had made for you.
You're losing your potency.
You're losing that potency of manhood that the Most High has waiting for you. You're forsaking that in exchange for our coping mechanisms and comforts and our opinion.
Yeah.
That's the losing of the soul.
So, let's get back. Ecclesiastes 20 and verse 22, 23 and verse 30.
Ecclesiastes chapter 20, verse 22. There is that destroyeth his own soul through bashfulness, and by accepting of persons overthroweth himself.
Because if I'm accepting of persons, what does that mean? I'm accepting weakness around me.
Yeah. Wow.
I'm accepting weakness around me. But if I'm accepting weakness around me, it's because I'm accepting weakness where? In yourself. In yourself. Listen, it's hard to sit back here and stand up for righteousness' sake and be honorable and correcting and standing up and everything when you're not breaking what's inside of you. That potency to stand up and correct and confront for righteous purposes is only there if you're motivated and standing up and breaking what's inside of you for righteous purposes. So a lot of times we project ourselves in front of people. If I'm accepting of persons and I'm accepting of everybody's negative, it's because I've already begun to accept negative in myself. But if I'm not tolerating negative in myself, then I'm going to be completely justified to not take nobody else's shit. And I'm going to tell people the truth about themselves because I'm being honest with myself. And how many of us can continue a pattern of being honest with ourselves? Because if I can continue to be honest with myself and evaluate myself clearly, then I can clearly evaluate everybody else in my surrounding area. You understand?
So is that just a question? Is that partial? Can I parallel what you said or what you're bringing out with when it says revenging all disobedience once my own disobedience is fulfilled?
God.
Okay. Just
Yeah.
asking a question.
Because the thing is this: if I am under control of myself, then I can judge properly. But if my evaluation of what's inside of me is off, I'm going to accept everybody else's negative. That's how it works. Read on.
Verse 23. There is that for bashfulness promiseth to his friend. It says, and maketh him his enemy for nothing.
There is that for bashfulness promised to his friend, and maketh him his enemy for nothing. Read, well,
Read that point one more time, sir.
Ecclesiastes chapter 20, verse 23.
Yeah.
There is that for bashfulness promiseth to his friend.
So I'm not fighting my battles, and the man next to me is really depending on me to fight my battle.
Yeah.
Brother, can you please do these numbers out? Can you please take care of his responsibility? Can you please take care of your job so I can do my job? Because we're all codependent. We're co-laborers out. Please read the Bible so you can teach out. Don't come here freestyling like you're some rappers like that. Can you study the Bible out? I'm depending on you to give me real counsel. I need you to give me real counsel. Fight your battle, study the book, so you can give me real information out. Don't sit here and bullshit my life. I'll give my life to the truth. Don't sit here and just give me answers I want to hear. So for bashfulness, does what? Read again?
It says, there is that for bashfulness.
I'm not fighting my battle, read.
Promiseth to his friend.
You're expecting me to come through in righteousness. You're expecting me to actually study. You're expecting me to show up and do my job, not be asleep on the damn job, and you know all the crap we all do, right? Not we all do, but I'm saying the things that not be efficient at my job. Now the brother's like, man, I want to be around this dude, bro. You know, you never fight your battle. I gotta carry you everywhere we go. I gotta carry you every time I look up. I'm carrying your spirit when I got my own spirit to deal with.
And this second part of this verse explains why admonishment is so important. Because what our spiritual relationship is supposed to be predicated on? Keeping everybody together with strength. This is not about, I've seen men in the past look at brotherhood this way. Your strength should cover my weakness. What you can bring to the table can help hide what I don't bring to the table. That has been the mantra of men from decades past. When what should be the mantra is, my strength will keep you strong and keep you motivated to keep fighting what's inside of you. And your strength and you fighting your battles is going to inspire me to keep fighting my battles. That's how you maintain strength and brotherhood. Because who in the hell, especially in leadership positions, wants to sit back here and carry your shit because you just don't want to fight? You're capable, you're experienced, you know what's right and wrong, but I got to keep carrying your shit.
You're trained.
And I just have to deal with it. And we're not talking about a young man dynamic versus a leadership dynamic. That's different. Because we're supposed to sit back here and be at the beckoning call of the youth.
Yes.
But how are you going to build a camp together, work and do the work for the Most High together, and I got to keep carrying your slack just because you're smiling? Like, I'm just trying.
That's the worst thing in the world.
Smile. I know I messed up, but you got it, right? That's a bullshit experience, and that's a bullshit dynamic. And that's how friendships and brotherhoods are broken. Because who wants to keep carrying dead weight? When the dead weight is capable of carrying their own damn baggage. This is the situation. This is the part of how this bashfulness of not trying to change what's inside of you affects the next man around you. Yes, sir.
I was just going to say also with that, so you're talking about how my weakness covers your weakness. It should be, okay, I see a person does something better than me. Let me figure out what it is that they're doing better than me, adopt their mind frame, become that mind frame, and then boom.
So we can actually get something accomplished.
Exactly.
Because if you have one strong person covering another person's weakness, we're just spinning our wheels. We can't grow to the next phase of whatever the hell we got to do.
And so we're not speaking like crazy. I can give a tangible example. Say, for example, I love
no names.
No, I love cardio.
Okay.
Let's say person A loves cardio in the gym, and person B hates cardio. Person B has to learn from person A how to love cardio, but person A hates doing stomach work, but person B loves stomach work. So it's an exchange.
Or lifting weights, because some person can run treadmill all damn day long, right, but can only pull up the bar.
But I'm just using a.
Another example is we're in a boat. Mm-hmm. I have an oar, you have an oar.
Okay.
I'm sitting here rolling the oar, you're not rolling your oar. So now we're just riding in circles out. We're just going in a circle because we're all, it's this
That's
order.
horrible.
This
That's a bad situation.
We got to go over here. I know what. Come on. Okay, let's go.
I don't think we're going to make it. I don't think we're going to make it.
The buzz paddling the opposite direction. He's passing opposite.
Did you explain, did he understand when he says one guy's paddling, so there's two guys on one guy on one side, one guy on the other. This guy on the left is paddling his ass off, the other guy's not. So the boat's just doing this. It's just turning in circles.
That's what we do in the camp. That's what we do.
That is a very discouraging scene. That's a very discouraging concept. That's the worst thing ever.
And then it's the funny part. And then what's what happened? We have brothers that are kind of connected sometimes. Like they're both kind of carnal. Like one day I'm a fight. The next day that brother's like, I'm ready to fight. That brother's like, I'm gonna take a break because I'm tired from the.
And that's the culture that's established. Or you say, man, let's get your ass off the boat and I'll do this shit. I'll take both of them and go. It's better. I can get more accomplished if both my arms are thrashed. Yeah. Than sitting back here carrying your white shit. Calm down. This is the situation. Usa. We're all here should be carrying our own brick.
Yeah.
And we should be embracing the spirit of change, embracing the spirit of fighting. Because if not, Scripture says it's not fair that one person is burdened and another one is eased. This is not some emotional rant. This is from 2 Corinthians 8, if I'm not mistaken, 8 or 9. Point is, that's where we're at. Let's let that go and go to verse 30.
House, bro. You got try to lay bricks. One guy won't put the slime on there. One brother's putting bricks. Ain't no slime, huh? And then one brother, the slime. Look at that.
That's more than another like a slime season. How are we doing that?
I don't build walls out.
I think we're gonna be done here.
There's a little more to the concrete. But half makes the concrete. You gotta keep starting over. It's what starts over all day.
Slime season now.
That's funny.
Okay, verse 30. Ecclesiastes 20 and 30.
Ecclesiastes chapter 20, verse 30.
Slimes, love it,
That's funny.
Read that.
Okay, Ecclesiastes chapter 20, verse 30. Wisdom that is hid and treasure that is hoarded up. What profit is in them both?
There's no profit in hiding what you know. All the profit is in taking what you've learned. What's wisdom? The correct application of knowledge. The correct application of knowledge, the proper use of the scriptures, applying the doctrine. You're supposed to take what you've learned and share it and commit it to others. That is what admonishment's about. And we're doing the Most High a disservice if we don't take what we've learned and commit it to other people. So if the information is being committed to one another, embrace the correction, embrace the teaching, embrace the development. Let that verse go and go to Colossians chapter 3, verse 12 through 16. Colossians 3 and 12, if you can, sir? I appreciate that. Colossians 3 and 12 through 16.
You ready?
Yeah, let's get that. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Colossians chapter 3 and verse 12.
Yep.
Put on therefore, as the elect of the Most High, holy and beloved, bowels of mercies, kindness, humbleness of mind, meekness, long suffering, forbearing one another, and forgiving one another. If any man have a quarrel against any, even as Christ forgave you, so also do ye.
So Christ has given us a template of how we should conduct ourselves around each other. Mercy, kindness, humbleness of mind, meekness, long suffering. Read on.
Colossians 3 and 14. And above all these things, put on charity, which is the bond of perfectness.
So he's trying to show us how we're supposed to operate in a camp or church structure. Mercy, forgiveness, charity, the whole process, right? Read on.
Colossians 3:15. And let the peace of the Most High rule in your hearts, to the which also ye are called in one body, and be ye thankful.
So this chapter is still dealing with the culture of how to sustain the school. Read on.
Colossians 3:16. Let the word of Christ dwell in you richly in all wisdom.
So the word of Christ should be dwelling within you all the time. Read on. And wisdom, once again, is the correct application of knowledge. So the word of Christ should be dwelling through us in all richness and wisdom. Read on.
Teaching and admonishing one another in psalms and hymns.
The culture is supposed to be based upon teaching and admonishment. That is the foundation of how a school is built. And in the process of how we teach and how we admonish is how we work on our kindness and our mercy and our humbleness of mind. How else do you work on all these things? How do you learn bowels of mercy? How do you learn kindness and humbleness of mind and meekness and long suffering unless you're engaging in teaching and admonishing? Unless you're engaging in the spirit of training. When I'm training and developing somebody, that's when I'm going to sit back here and get put in a situation where I have to learn what kindness really is, humbleness of mind really is. I understand how to suffer long when I'm dealing with pride. When I'm dealing with that buck up when you teach and correct somebody and they don't want to hear it. That's when you get the opportunity to work on what's inside of you. But the very nature of teaching and admonishing is what this is about. And we have to embrace that mentality if we choose to please the Heavenly Father. And if this camp and this school is going to grow and other schools around, the spirit of admonishment has to be received and appreciated. Let that verse go and go to Ecclesiastes.
And it cannot be personal. I have to pick back on your point. It's not personal.
It's never personal. And that's why we take so long to bring people up. Because we need to make sure brothers understand that this is not some competition. This is not some damn competition. It's not some boys club. It's not about making buddies. It's not about sitting back here and enforcing old grudges. Now it's my time to be on top. Everybody gonna feel it. Because I felt like I felt it when I was young. All that shit gonna get thrown out to the door. Because if that's your mindset, you're gonna keep your patch or maybe lose some more.
It's gonna be a long time, bro.
Because that's the mindset. We have to learn how to operate with the right mentality if we expect to get honored. This scripture is the greatest amongst you has to be the greatest what? Servant. Okay, so read that verse, Ecclesiastes chapter 13. No. Ecclesiastes 19, verse 13 through 17.
I got it. Ecclesiastes 19 in verse 13.
Okay.
Admonish a friend. It may be he hath not done it. And if he hath done it, that he do it no more.
Listen, this verse and these verses from 13 to 17 is to 17, sir.
Oh.
Is a reminder of what type of culture the school has to be in. If an issue has to be addressed and a brother has to be confronted, then he has to be confronted. Whether the person did it or not isn't the point. The only thing that matters is righteousness. It said you got to admonish your friend. I have to be willing to sit back here and put my friendships on the line for righteousness' sake. But a lot of times, this is the beginning of where the bribery kicks in.
Yeah.
I don't want to lose my friend, so I'm not going to admonish him. I don't want to lose the benefit of having this friend, so I won't confront this person the same way I would confront somebody who I stand to who I don't stand to lose anything with. That's what Moses says. We're supposed to do this work without partiality.
Yeah.
So whether I'm dealing with somebody that I can actually lose something from if I confront them, versus dealing with somebody that I can lose nothing from confronting, I have to deal with both scenarios the same. And I have to sit back here and be willing to not have any friends for the sake of righteousness' sake. How many of us are there? Righteousness goes above friendship. That's the Bible. And if we can see, our connection and our bond is based on righteousness first. It always has been. This brotherhood and unity is based upon our desire to live right and to serve the Most High. That is the number 1, 2, and 3 scenario. And in the midst of it, you'd be lucky to have friends that share the same values as you do. That's what we all hope to find in the brotherhood. So, read on.
Ecclesiastes chapter 19 and verse 14. Admonish thy friend, it may be he hath not said it.
So you still have to go through the process of correction, inquiry, even though they might not have said what you heard they said. And the crazy thing is, it shouldn't matter. It shouldn't matter. Read it from the time. I want to bring a point up.
Ecclesiastes 19 and verse 14. Admonish thy friend, it may be he hath not said it, and if he have, that he speak it not again.
Listen, the constant putting each other in a situation where there's counsel, and we have to check to make sure things are being done right, should just nurture the reality that, hey man, our bonds is based upon doing right. And if we can accept, we wouldn't take from correction.
Go.
There you go. You almost, the thing cut off for a second, man. You have a solo on your face. But let's keep going. Read on. It did. The image did.
Yeah.
The thing cut off for a second. Read on.
Verse 15. Verse 15. Admonish a friend, for many times it is a slander, and believe not every tale.
But we all have to have the ability to still confront each other in Christ as brothers and not take it personally. It more than likely is a slander. But as brothers, we still got to communicate and deal with each other.
We have to feel 100% open to be transparent.
God, Scripture says righteousness over rank. Anyway,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So that's what has to be number 1 in a scenario. Righteousness has to rule over everything.
Yeah.
The best approach has to rule over years and time with each other. That's how we keep everybody humble in Christ. Read on.
God. Verse 16.
But once again, the spirit of admonishment, it still should be in the spirit of humility, and it should be non-emotional behind the admonishment. Because if we as leaders sense that there's a vendetta or there's emotion behind it, we're gonna deal with that.
You're not
shit.
in that position, bro.
You're gonna lose your position.
You can't be in a position and you're ruining souls out there
God.
because you don't know how to control yourself. That can't happen.
God.
We can't have a camp like that. We can't do it.
And that's the point. So let's keep going.
God. Verse 16. There's one that slippeth in his speech.
There's one that's slipping in his speech, but might say something out of pocket, say something the wrong way. Read on.
But not from his heart.
But not from his heart. Listen, that's very important because people are so caught up in how it sounds.
Yes.
That's every counsel, bro. He didn't say it with perfect diction, huh? He didn't say the words I like to hear to receive the information.
Or in the midst of a counsel, 85% of the counsel is correct.
Yep.
But that 15%, no, that didn't happen that way. That was wrong. Okay. So I might have said 15% of a point wrong, but you're not going to focus on the 85. You know you're dead to rights on. And that's how people's thinking is. But keep going what you're saying.
But they're sitting here focusing on semantics of words and not the actual point that's brought out. They want to play the logic game. No, logically you mean no. What is the spiritual point here?
Yep.
We're spiritual people reading a spiritual book. You're sitting here playing word games, and you have no spiritual point that supports what you're saying. What is the point? What is the understanding? Israel's so focused on how it feels, they're not focused on understanding. That's how you run in place for 5 to 10 years.
Yep. So let's keep going.
Come, Ecclesiastes 19 and verse 16. There is one that slippeth in his speech, but not from his heart. And who is he that hath not offended with his tongue?
Everybody makes mistakes and says the wrong thing, but you know the brother really cared about you enough, and he really meant well, and most understanding he brought was valid.
Because the thing, you gotta ask yourself, instead of focusing on how something is being said, why don't you focus on how much time they're going, how much time they're investing into you? That should be the number one thing to focus on. Does anybody in their right mind want to argue with another human being when it has nothing to do with their benefits? For the sheer fact that they're logging in 2 hours in a back and forth at you should mean that they give a shit over a word or two that was not true, or that might be over exaggerated, or a little sarcasm kicks in. Can I sit back and look at the big picture? How many man hours has this person logged in to sit? You go to a like a what do you call it, auto shop, and they work on your paint job, right? It's one thing for the part, but then they're charging big money for man hours. Just for the time that I'm putting into painting this damn car or painting this part, there's a dollar amount of that, right?
The struggle they had to put in.
Why don't y'all look at counsel that way? This is man hours, real life forces being used in these counsels. Do people think about how much time goes into counsel? How many hours goes into counsel? Isn't there a value to that? Oh, they're supposed to do it, huh? We're supposed to do it, huh? Teachers are supposed to sit back and listen all day long and neglect their family, listen to you argue. We're not asking or talking about getting praise for doing our job, but can there be a consciousness that people are sacrificing their lives for you? And they're putting something that they want on the back burner to get you to see something spiritual? You know how much easier it could have been in minute 5 of this bullshit conversation? They could have just got off the phone and said, hey, man, I gotta get off this phone, man. I'll talk to you tomorrow. You know how easy that could have been? Or to just say, like I've seen brothers do, arm in the back, I've seen that one before. That trick has been used. I'm in a bad area. What? I can't hit. That's a real damn thing.
I get it. Cool. Argue on that.
That's my point. I'm painting this picture just to say, hey, you know what? People are giving you time. So while you're sitting back here making about an argument, can you realize people give a shit enough to give you their time to argue with you?
People only appreciate it when they can't get no more.
Or when they're getting some free advice, some hookup. You know, there's like hard counsel, then there's hookup, come up counsel. Everybody wants to hook up. This is how you double your situation. This is how you get this. You can stack up.
Never
people want to hear that one.
Ain't no arguing there.
When it's about hard realities about your spirit, I don't want to hear it. But if you're getting counsel on how to come up, I got big ears. What's up? What's going on?
Exactly.
Everybody wants to hear. But can you realize that whether it's come up counsel or chastisement counsel, people are really putting in their time for you? And if you can do that, maybe brothers can learn not to take correction so personal.
And also,
that's the only reason I'm pointing this out is so a brother can understand psychologically not to take it personal. I mean, this person's giving their own time. Every time it's like 1 o'clock at night, you know everybody in the room is tired. You don't think the counselors are tired too? Usually we just want to pick fights to the midnight hour out. We love that. Yeah, after counsel, we're high-fiving each other. Yeah, we got them. You think we want that? The counsels are happening because we love you. And I'm pretty sure other brothers out in these other spots do the same thing. It's care and consideration. So while you're going through your feelings and your emotions, don't forget that. That should help you stay grounded. Okay. Where are we at?
We're on verse 16, Ecclesiastes 19.
Read on. Give me verse 17.
Come. Ecclesiastes 19 and verse 17. Admonish thy neighbor before thou threaten him.
So it's still about correction. You correct. You tell people the truth about themselves, so I don't have to have a grudge towards
Before you cut that person off.
But this is the point. If I'm communicating and I'm counseling on a consistent basis, the purpose of that is to eliminate holding a grudge.
Exactly.
You tell people the truth about themselves so I can keep showing you love. Because playing the game don't work. Sitting back here and be like, oh, I'm not going to say shit now. I'm just going to let this ride out. That is a turning negative, turning your mind negative. That's why the Bible says, let not the sun go down upon that wrath. Because playing that cloak and dagger shit don't work. Like with some psyops, CIA spy game shit. I ain't going to say this. I'm just going to keep this cool. I'm going to let him fall on that. No, bro. Bring everything to the light. Confront it. Move on. Give your brother a dap and a hug and move on with your day. Anyway, we know what that verse? Okay.
17, right?
Yeah, verse 17. And not being angry, give place to the law of the Most High.
It goes back to the not being angry. Yeah? Can I admonish? Can I correct without holding a grudge? Can I teach people and instruct them and teach them how to augment their conduct in their days without being angry about it? Yes, sir?
I'm supposed to defend the book, not defend how I feel.
Yes.
Brothers don't get it. Brothers they interject their emotion in. That's why we can't have emotional counselors. We can't have emo counselors out because you're interjecting you into the conversation. Mm-hmm. No, we're just defending the program. We're defending the scriptures. We're defending your future growth. We're defending your family. That's why we're passionate about what we say.
Because even when officers try to deal with correction, mm-hmm. if a brother is disrespectful, why are you getting so angry? Can I sit back and accept that a person is going to be disrespectful, and I can separate how that makes me feel and stay on task and teach that person that they need to learn respect for respect's sake? Or am I going to check them because they sat back here and disrespected me? That's how you can tell this between a real leader and opposer. So you're going to get offended all the time in this position. If you think being disrespected at an officer level sucks, get ready for general disrespect. It gets heightened. And can I fight to detach the emotion that comes from being disrespected and keep it about the lesson that the young man needs or the older brother needs? And that's a challenge everybody got to face. Can I detach the feeling of being disrespected and keep it about the lesson that the person needs to learn about embracing correction? That's how we know a person is ready to be a real counselor. But if I'm sitting back here and I'm vexed that a person disrespected me, then I'm not ready to be a leader. I'm still too sensitive and I'm too caught up on how other people make me feel. And that's not how we're supposed to operate and function in our position. So I have to digest the disrespect, put it to the side, and teach you about you so that you can grow.
Like you said, too sensitive for leadership.
Done. There we go. So we're going to let that go. We're going to go to Hebrews chapter 13, verse 16 through 17. And this whole process of admonishment and confronting this person and confronting that person and dealing with matters of counsel on a consistent basis. You know what admonishment is really also about? It's making sure the overall spirit and morale of the body stays maintained.
Exactly.
Staying sustained. I have to be able to sit back here and constantly reevaluate all the relationships amongst the body so that we can all be pushing the same direction and moving forward. And that's what admonishment is about. Every single person as a leader that I'm confronted with, I got to sit back here and give them their next set of instructions to keep them pushing forward in their life. Whether it's issues with their home, issues with their finances, issues with their discipline, their order, their organization. This is what we do. And establishing admonishment is about each brother, they're at a certain level in life. Can I sit back here and create a plan for them to take the next step in their life?
Can I stair-step my brother?
Exactly. But there can't be any emotions involved in establishing the next standard or set of levels of growth for each person. And in our position, it's about constantly going through a cycle with each man, finding out where they need to go next.
That's why it's always like you're keeping the Most High's house clean. Christ said, "Know ye not that I'm about my Father's business? Then we're the household of faith."
And the scripture also does know about these say to thy flocks. That's Proverbs 22:28. You have to know what's going on with each man, so you can sit back and strategically position them to the next step, so they can keep building on their what? Their hope. So, but I got to keep correcting you and chastising you and admonishing you, so you can keep being on track, so you can get close to the Heavenly Father. And that's what the shepherd's job is. But read that.
Come. Hebrews chapter 13 and verse 16 reads, "But to do good and to communicate, forget not."
So communication is so important. The constant reestablishing of the relationships with the body and where to take the next man next is so important.
It's the blood of a calf.
But the communication has to do with admonishment and correction. That's what the communication is. Instruction, teaching, reestablishing the goals of each man, so they can keep embracing this spiritual experience everyone is on. Read on.
Come. Forget not, for with such sacrifices of the Most High is well pleased.
Counsel is a sacrifice. Investing the time into listening to your vomit is a sacrifice. Listening, hearing, counseling, establishing goals for yourself. All the interaction that we do is a sacrifice. And can we all, older men, younger men, embrace that we're all sacrificing for each other? And stop taking the teaching and the admonishment and correction personal? We're all sacrificing for each other. Can you get out of your head and your emotions and see things big picture? Stop operating emotional and know that, hey, people are sacrificing every day for you.
Yeah, I love what you said. You said about the big picture. That's what men get so caught up
in the
on
pettiness.
On the pettiness of everything. I'm so into how it sounded. I'm so into that point that wasn't. It was 85% accurate, but 50% kind of
BS.
Kind of bullshit.
That was malicious.
Yeah, exactly. And they're only focused on that day. They're not focused on the whole 5-year or 1 year or 3-month pattern they've established.
Yeah.
So I like what you said, because it's showing that it's showing the big picture is really what we're supposed to be developing to in the first place. What's the big picture? Are you sacrificing the moment to get a greater blessing of understanding?
Because you know what the crazy thing is? Can you ask yourself after the counsel, does this brother love me? Do they care? Why would they go through this if they didn't care? How many months and years have they invested in me? Now they're the boogeyman? Now they're the big bad guy. Look how much time they've invested in me. Yeah, I don't like how this counsel made me feel. But damn, how much time have they put into me? How much shit have I put them through? Can you look at things that way? Can I see how... Well, yeah, exactly, but that's for Monday. We're gonna talk about the bad side of guys. We're gonna go on some cutting on Monday. But today, we're trying to teach men how to look at things big picture and spiritual. Brothers are sacrificing for me. They're giving their time up from their families to listen to me vent and complain. A lot of times we get so used to the fact that the counselor will be there whenever you demand it. You forget that people are coming out of their life for you. And if we did that, we have a greater appreciation for the big picture, for the momentary embarrassment, the momentary discomfort, momentary looking back. And these guys are really putting the work in for me. And for other, can you imagine? You might request a counsel twice a month, but how about everybody in the campus requesting a counsel twice a month? Stacks up then. Now you got around 25 counsels a month.
And the spirit.
So your 2 might not be that bad, but you got 25 in an entire camp. So can you appreciate the gravity and the sacrifice that people got to go through to keep the body running? Hopefully looking at that will take you out of you and get you to sit back and learn how to appreciate the program better and the structure better and the work that people commit to this better. Let that go. I think we're done.
Verse 17?
No. For such sacrifices, the Most High is well pleased. Yeah, we know about the... You might as well. It does go into it. Read on. Read verse 17.
Come. Verse 17. Obey them that have the rule over you.
And this, when it says obey, all it means is, can you give them the benefit of the doubt? Can you give your counselor the benefit of the doubt when they're admonishing you and when they're teaching you, when they're correcting you? Half the time, brothers can't do that because they're so caught up in their feelings about how the counsel went down. Give them the benefit of the doubt. Read on.
Come. And submit yourselves, for they watch.
Submit yourself means to truly listen and consider the information. You're supposed to be listening and really considering and trying to and fighting to see what what they're the understanding what they're saying. That's submitting. I'm fighting to understand, not fighting to argue. Read.
Come. For they watch for your soul.
They're trying to protect, and so you can maintain your spirit, your actual potency in Christ, your maturity level, your development. They're trying to make sure that man's protected. A lot of brothers they're more fighting for to feel a certain way and to look a certain way. You're missing the big picture.
Okay. So we got that, right? You done with that? We're finishing the verse off.
Come. As they that must give account, that they may do it with joy and not with grief.
Mm-hmm.
For that is unprofitable.
The way we can do it with joy and not with grief is to every day. Even if I'm dealing with the younger man, I have to accept that the younger man is learning. He's going to learn this time.
Yep.
So I can't take him personal. So the younger man has to learn how to not take correction personal. Then we can actually get something accomplished over time. Yeah. We're going to let that go. We're good. And we're running late on time. And I don't know if I'm going over this point next week. I want to go over the next point. So what I want to read is a couple of verses. Let's go to Job chapter 34. Verse 31 through 34. And somebody else can be Job 6 and 24. We'll go some verses that we ain't read before. Now, y'all read Job. He got Job. Most cats don't read Job. It's the truth. So, Job 34, verse 31 through 34.
Job chapter 34, verse 31. Surely it is meet to be said unto the Most High, I have borne chastisement.
So he says, surely it is right to be said unto the Most High, I have borne chastisement. I have absorbed correction. I have dealt with correction. I have embraced correction. It is the right thing that I can tell the Most High that I dealt with correction. Read on.
I have borne chastisement. I will not offend anymore.
If this is how we're supposed to look at the Most High, it's right that we sit back here and we can honestly say, I endured the check. And I didn't take my leader personal. I didn't sit back here and get angry at the verdict of what dealt with, how I was dealt with. Mm-hmm. It's my responsibility with my conduct for the Most High to see that I bore chastisement the right way. Read it from the top again.
Job chapter 34, verse 31.
That has to drive in men's minds. Read that again.
Surely it is meet to be said unto the Most High.
It is right that the Most High sees this. Yep. And I can honestly tell the Most High what?
I have borne chastisement.
I have dealt with chastisement the right way.
I remember my first time seeing a brother get blew up. I was bringing the truth. Saw a touchdown. He was getting blown up.
No, don't put names like that on.
My bad. But he took. We don't bring this out. This inspired me.
Mm-hmm.
He took a check that lasted an hour out and never said a word out. He was like this. He was in just like this. Has hands behind his back. He got blasted for an hour straight. Never said one word out. Grabbed his books and he left like a G out. That showed me. That's why I said his name out.
Okay.
Because that was the most powerful example you could see of a brother. I didn't see him flip out.
Yep. I
didn't see him debate. He just looked. He listened, and he just took the whole counsel. I call it eating the check out. He ate the check out.
That's man shit right there.
Look, that impressed me out. Because I'm 18 now. I'm like, what are these brothers doing here?
Yeah.
What is this? You're like critiquing this man's life, huh?
Yeah. Yeah.
What is this?
Mm-hmm.
I'm in this environment. What are these guys doing here? What is this?
Too late.
And he was like,
gotcha.
I'm new.
I'm messing with
I'm new. I didn't see him say, you didn't understand. It's
not fair.
Well, listen, I saw him the whole time. His body never moved. He was like a statue out. And he was just staring, 1,000-yard stare out. And everybody, and then after a while, the counselors went down because he didn't flip. The counselor went from here, and then just slowly went down, and they kept going and critiquing and banging, and then he just counsels over, grabbed his books, went home. No puffy red face, no red eyes, no glass, just a man eye. I was like, wow, that taught me. Honestly, it's rare. I rarely see that, bro. I respect that.
And this is what we should be shooting towards. We're so caught up on the individual and what they're saying, we forget the Most High is waiting to see if we're bearing chastisement the right way. He wants to see how we're dealing with the chastisement. And half the time, brothers fail automatically because they just can't take a check because men are too emotional.
5 minutes.
You start bucking up, defending yourself, talking back. It takes 5 minutes for brothers to start cracking.
They're getting printed.
And women too.
Yeah.
Same damn thing. The goal is to show the Most High that you can bear the check. This is how you start to learn how to think so you can learn how to please the Most High. How do you take the check? He's looking at that. Somebody's hand was up?
I was asking where were we at?
We're Job 34, verse 31. We're going to verse 34. Read verse 21 again from the top.
Job chapter 34, verse 31. Surely it is meet to be said unto the Most High.
It is right to be said unto the Most High, meaning you're saying it, you're acknowledging it, and He can verify it. Read on.
I have borne chastisement, I will not offend anymore.
It's two things. I took the check, and I repented from the mistake.
Wow.
And it's a potent thing to say that to the Most High and know the Most High can say, yeah, you did it. You took the hit and you fixed your problem. That's commendable to the Most High. Read on.
32. That which I see not, teach thou me.
He said, that which I don't see,
I don't understand that.
teach me the shit I don't see. That means the Most High is praying to the Most High to show me all the things that I'm doing wrong so I can fix it. But is that how we think?
No.
Hell no. He's praying to the Most High to bring people to check me. Because how else are you going to see the things you don't see? Unless somebody comes and tells you what you're doing is off. Read verse 32 from the top again.
Verse 32. That which I see not, teach thou me.
The things I don't see, bring somebody in my life to tell me I'm off at. And let me look for people that can improve in how I do things. That's how we have to learn how to operate. Read on.
If I have done iniquity, I will do no more.
That means I am looking for somebody to improve my position, my spiritual position. All we do is we run from a correction. We run from checking. We run from somebody showing us we're wrong. We're totally opposite of how the Most High wants us to function. Run straight towards your issues. Be willing to embrace every godly discourse.
Come.
Anybody that's talking about augmenting themselves and giving me a chance to augment myself spiritually, embrace it. Read on.
Verse 33. Should it be done according to thy mind?
That's what people wanted. People want to change according to what they think is good.
It's a powerful scripture, bro.
Should it be according to thy mind? Read on.
He will recompense it, whether thou refuse or whether thou choose.
The Most High is going to check you for that.
Exactly. If I fight it or I accept it. Read on.
And not I. Therefore speak what thou knowest.
Come on, read on.
Tell me the truth.
Yeah. Tell me the truth. Tell it to me straight. The way you want me to tell it. I mean, the way you want me to see it. That's what he's saying. Show it to me the way you want me to see it. It's not about me. It's not about what I want or how I feel.
Tell it to me straight.
This lies right back into Psalms 141 and 5. Let the righteous smite me, it should be a kindness. Let the person who does it better than me show me how to do it better. And can we grow up to embrace correction at that level? Because that's godly sorrow. That's godly humility. Read on.
It's power.
Job 34 and 34. Let men of understanding tell me.
That's the point. Let somebody who can do some shit better than me tell me how to do it. That's humility. really is. Instead of grandstanding and talking shit and acting like you want to change, but you don't put the work in to get it done, to actually make the improvements. You don't let people who actually love you help you improve. Let that verse go. Job 6 and 24.
Job 6 verse 24.
Slow down when you enunciate those verses, you go too fast. Read it again.
Job chapter 6 and verse 24. Teach me, and I will hold my tongue.
Listen, Most High says, teach me and I'll shut my goddamn mouth.
That's crazy.
You can't get men to shut their goddamn mouth when you counsel them. They always got something to say. But a spiritual person says, teach me, and I'll shut my damn mouth. But you know what shutting your mouth also means? It doesn't mean just shutting your pie hole. You know what it means is stop thinking. Exactly. Stop rebuttaling with your mind. It means listen. That's what shutting your mouth means. It means when a person is telling you you're wrong, listen to what he's saying and how he's saying is wrong versus saying, no, that's not true. That's bullshit. You can verbally say it or mentally say it. You're still off. Read it from the top again.
Job chapter 6 and verse 24. Teach me, and I will hold my tongue.
Teach me. I'm looking for somebody to show me how to do something better. And I'm not gonna say, oh yeah, well I was doing this, but you don't understand. I was trying to do that. Shut up and listen.
You don't look at what I do good. You only call it the bad.
That's how low-level thinking people operate. That's how foolish people operate. When it's time to learn and grow, you want to sit back here and talk about how smart you have been. That's low-level thinking. That's the spirit of folly. What was the definition of folly again?
Intellectual weakness.
Intellectual weakness. Because when an intellectually weak person is corrected and given a chance to augment their mind, they respond by how they're doing good already. You're not focusing on my good qualities. Versus sitting back here and being humble enough to let somebody elevate them. Because too many of our people operate in the spirit of folly. Because mentally, we're weak. And we can't handle the pressure and the expectation of getting pushed past your limitations. But if you're ever going to grow, you got to sit back and acknowledge where you're weak at and keep working on it until you're strong at it. But it takes a lot of humility to get that accomplished. Humility that we don't have as a nation. Read it again from the top.
Job 6 and verse 24. Teach me, and I will hold my tongue.
Teach me, and I will sit back here and shut up and listen. That's a person who really wants to get taught.
And grow.
A person who really wants to get taught is going to ask questions, follow the right example, and their way and opinion gets pushed to the back burner. And you have an open mind so somebody can actually give you the information you need. Read on.
And cause me to understand wherein I have erred.
That's the only way you're going to figure it out.
Cause me.
That's the only way you're going to get out of this hamster wheel of a life you have. You need real changes, real solutions, and a whole new game plan. And the way you do shit, boil it up on a piece of paper and throw it away.
I don't think it's gonna get
better. Shit didn't work.
I don't think it's gonna get better. I don't see my life changing. I don't think I should keep.
You know why? Because your method is intellectually weak. How about that? What's the definition of folly again?
Intellectual weakness.
So that means our methods are intellectually weak. The methods that we've used to get to where we're at are intellectually weak. So that's a good enough reason to throw away those intellectually weak mindsets and embrace proper correction. Are there any questions? It's getting late. If this one cut, the next one's going to really hit. Shalom, y'all. I will talk to y'all on, we'll have class on Friday, Saturday, but I'll be back on Monday. Shalom, y'all.
Shalom.